It is a huge Premier League clash, Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. Let's go now to your commentary team of former Blues keeper Nicky Weaver and first Mike Miney.
Thank you, Stacey. It is a season to be jolly unless you're Manchester City. Only in June do they have a worse loss percentage than they do in December in the Premier League. Difference there perhaps is they only played 3 Premier League matches in June compared to 40 in December. 33% loss rate in June, 20% in December. A comeback win in midweek though from 2-0 down will have given the players and fans a little boost. It was the second time in recent memory the Blues have come from 2-0 down at half time to win. The time before Wednesday was back in January when they beat today's opponents 3-2. From that game with Leipzig then, Pep Guardiola makes 3 changes. Ortega, Lewis and Grealish all drop to the bench as Ederson returns in goal. Alvarez and Doku, who impressed after coming on against Leipzig and really helped turn the game around, both are rewarded with starts. So Ederson in goal, Walker, Akanji, Diaz and Vardiol as the back 4. Bernardo and Rodri hold the midfield. Foden, Alvarez and Doku sit behind the man who in his last Premier League game scored his 50th Premier League goal, Erling Haaland. Spurs were going great guns, unbeaten in their opening 10, but have since lost their last 3. Their record of winning 8, drawing 2 and losing 3 is exactly the same as last season under Antonio Conte. However, Ange Postecoglou is making a very good impression in his start at Spurs. Makes 1 change from their 2-1 defeat at home to Aston Villa last time out. Bentancur is out altogether. In comes Yves Bissouma. So Vicario in goal. Former Manchester City youngster Pedro Porro's at right back alongside Emerson Royal, Davis and Udogie. Bissouma and Lo Celso hold the midfield. Brennan Johnson, their summer signing from Nottingham Forest, is on the right of 3 that sit just behind Son. That other 3 includes Kulusevski and Brian Gill. Top of the table clash then with 2 teams in bottom of the table form. Manchester City winless in 2. Spurs have lost their last 3, but Nicky Weaver, no doubting the quality on show this evening.
Oh, it's a huge game of quality. Tottenham, although they've got some key players injured and missing, they've still got huge quality. They're a very dangerous team. But listen, I think with City, probably over the last couple of years, best team in the world. I know we're a little bit off the pace in the Premier League at the minute. We can obviously close that gap today. Close that gap to 1 point with a win today. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. A lot's been made of Ange Postecoglou's, the way he plays the game, the high line he has. It'll be interesting to see if, with the pace of Doku and Haaland, if City can exploit that.
Manchester City in a huddle in their sky blue shirts in the middle of their own half, away to our right hand side, right in front of the away fans. That's where Spurs have gone into their huddle. They're wearing a musty brown outfit this afternoon, the Spurs players. Shirts, like shorts and socks to match.
Looks like the colour that you'd get a dressing gown in or something, doesn't it?
Wrapping up warm for winter maybe. With the rain falling in East Manchester, what was last night's snow is now today's drizzle. Manchester City sky blue shirts, white shorts and sky blue socks will be left to right when proceedings start on the referee's whistle. That referee today is Simon Hooper. Off we go with Bernardo Silva getting us underway. Spurs then from right to left under the floodlights, the last of the daylight fading away. Ederson has gone long as the ball was played back to him, headed out of play by Spurs. Only Spurs and Burnley on longer runs without a win than Manchester City in the Premier League at the moment. In fact, that was before the weekend. Burnley ended that with a 5-0 win over Sheffield United yesterday. So both of these 2 sides enjoying the longest winless runs in the Premier League. They're both at the right end of the table though. Manchester City 4 points behind Arsenal before play started today. 2 behind Liverpool now after 2 late goals in the 87th and 88th minute turned the game on its head. Liverpool beat Fulham 4-3. Other results earlier: Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 2. Manchester City go to Villa Park on Wednesday night. Chelsea 3, Brighton 2, and West Ham and Palace drew 1 apiece. Here's Bernardo Silva on the right hand side, lays it further over to the touchline and ahead of him to Phil Foden, who's midway inside the Spurs half. Back down the line it goes to Kyle Walker and returned once more to Phil Foden, who got the second in that 3-2 comeback win over Leipzig on Tuesday night.
I think what's interesting, after 25 seconds you could see Akanji's position. He's dropped straight into the midfield, or pushed into the midfield should I say, so that's obviously something that Pep wants him to do. And yeah, Tottenham have been pretty cagey to start with, and like I say, it'll be interesting to see if they do play this high line, if City can hurt them, particularly with the pace of Doku.
who stands on the left-hand side awaiting the ball for now as Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden interchange passes.
I think that confirms they are going to play a hard line night. Phil Foden's got the ball sort of 10 yards inside his own half, and the defenders are 10 yards inside their half.
Here comes Doku then for a run at Pedro Porro down the left-hand side of Manchester City. He just creeps into the penalty area, tries to put in a cross, it deflects behind, and Manchester City, after 2 minutes, have the first corner of the game 0-0.
I think it's going to be. I've really enjoyed watching Doku. He's settled in fantastic. I think what he does, he's obviously got blistering pace, but it's blistering pace off the mark. So he'll run down, he'll stop the ball, stop the defender, then he goes again, and that little burst. No one so far has really been able to handle that pace.
Not unless they double up on him, which Wolves and Liverpool try to do. But when it's one-on-one situations, it usually tends to be Doku who gets the advantage as the corner comes in near post. Goalkeeper came for it, was crowded out by a couple of sky blue shirted players, and behind it goes the left hand post.
Yeah, I think it was a Kanji, the goalkeeper. Well, it looked like it nearly took a Kanji's head off, I think. But it's a wicked ball whipped in there to that near post as the rain falls in Manchester. So difficult afternoon for the goalkeepers.
Off Manuel Akanji's right shoulder. He was in enough controversy last weekend with VAR, Manuel Akanji, with that foul on Liverpool's Alisson. Could have given Manchester City a 2-0 lead at that point. VAR had other ideas. Here's Edison, under pressure from Son, away from his goal, away from his box actually, and dealt with it well enough. Doku tries to head it on the far side, touchline on the halfway line, goes out of play for a Manchester City throw. Linesman didn't seem too sure which way to give that, but awards it in Manchester City's favour.
I think the...
As City come forward, Haaland's right out on the left-hand side here and wins a corner. The sliding challenge comes in from Emerson Royal, City corner.
Yeah, good long throw. Haaland got in, and it's another corner. Let's see if we can whip a wicked one in like he did a minute ago. Just going back to Spurs, I think they can press better without Kane. Although Kane's a brilliant player, but I don't think he can press like Son.
Kane enjoying life in Germany. Spurs enjoying life without Harry Kane, it has to be said. Corner far side then, which Alvarez bends in again near post, flicked on by Haaland, away by Spurs on the edge of the 6-yard box, and the ball runs away up towards the halfway line.
Yeah, so it didn't quite get the loft on it. It was sort of half flicked on, but he's got cleared. But yeah, very dangerous couple of balls in from Alvarez.
Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden combine again. Foden tries to get the cross in early from the right hand side. The challenge comes in from Destiny Udogie, and he gets the ball back in the left back position, but it's so tight on the edge of the Spurs penalty area. The press coming from 3 Manchester City players in Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez, Bernardo Silva, and as they try and play their way out of danger, the ball goes over the touchline, and Manchester City have a throw in. It is most certainly in the opening 4.5 minutes 0-0. Yes, it's the battle of the presses.
Yeah, and that's
Alvarez, edge of the penalty area. No, can't get the control he wants, and Spurs will bring it away.
And that's just how the Premier League's gone, especially the top end of the Premier League. I told when Phil Brown was speaking before the game, it's not about, quite happy to leave it 1-on-1, 2-on-2 at the back where, yesterday you always had a spare man, where now it's all about pressing from the front, as we see one here.
Vicario clears it away from his own penalty area under the pressure of Erling Haaland. Now Phil Foden steals in behind one of the Spurs defenders in Giovanni Lo Celso. Doku on the left of the penalty area, angles tight, goes for the shot, it's spilt by Vicario, rolls on the byline, looked like it had gone out of play, has gone out of play, and it's a Manchester City corner far side.
Yeah, and we're just talking about the press, and City win the ball probably 40 yards out from goal. Foden gets it out to Doku, they get a shot off, they get another corner. So yeah, City, they're not just pressing to win the ball back, they're pressing to create an opportunity and score a goal.
Doku carried that into the penalty area, left of centre, and then firing the shot low. Should Vicario have done a little bit better there?
I think he's bobbled in front of him a little bit, I think.
Corner comes in deeper, Vicario punches down on the floor, it'll come to Foden on the edge of the D, but in between Foden and the ball was Brian Gill, and the ball is then sent away by Spurs. Son's on the counter-attack, the bounce helped Son immediately there, and he's into the penalty area right hand side and scores, and Tottenham take the lead with their first shot on goal. 6 minutes played, Son finds the back of the net, Spurs counter-attack, and it is Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Yeah, it's a great finish from Son. I think Edison might be a little bit disappointed, it sent to go through him a little bit, but pace on the counter, it was from a City corner. It was cleared by Spurs, and it was suddenly 2-on-1. I don't quite know how it got to be 2-on-1, but yeah, Spurs have broken numbers. It's a great ball, I think, from Kulusevski. Doku looked like he had it under control, and then Son's nipped nipped in, he had a couple of touches, bit of a tight angle, and I think Edison will be slightly disappointed with that, but a fantastic counter-attacking goal from Tottenham, and it's the first time they've really been near City's goal.
Yeah, it's squeezed through Edison. Son got the advantage when he knocked the header down midway inside the Manchester City half. Right-footed shot across Edison and in. It's gone under Edison, that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to criticise goalkeepers, but I think he'll be disappointed with that. A goalkeeper who's highly regarded and possibly the best in the Premier League, he'll be disappointed with that. But yeah, it's game on now.
Son didn't score in November. He started December with a goal at the Etihad Stadium, and Tottenham, who have won 5 of their last 7 in the Premier League against Manchester City, are ahead by a 1-0. What can Manchester City do in terms of a response? Doku, Bernardo Silva lets the ball run across him. Foden will be on the loose ball chase, but Udogie can bring it away, and Ange Postecoglou points down the near side touchline in his quilted navy overcoat. City have won a throw-in, take it quickly. Bernardo Silva fouled in the immediate aftermath of that by Lo Celso, and it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City out on the right-hand side, a good 25-30 yards from goal.
Yeah, we've seen Alvarez, whip, I think, 3 corners in now that have been quite dangerous. This is obviously the opposite side. It's probably 22, 23, possibly 25 yards out from the touchline, a few yards in, so really dangerous area if you can sort of whip it, in what they call the second 6-yard box.
So over 6 years since Manchester City went 3 Premier League games without a win under Pep Guardiola, who stands with his arms folded for now. The free kick whipped in by Alvarez. Haaland goes up for the header. Oh, it's bundled in! A decisive touch that just sends it past Vicario. Manchester City behind for just over 2 minutes, and they're level. Manchester City 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Yeah, it's a wicked. We spoke about how dangerous it was. It's a wicked ball in. I think it's an own goal, and I think it's Son. It's a great ball in. It looked like Haaland was going to get a flick on it. I think he's totally missed it, and I think it comes off Son. But it's a great ball in from Alvarez.
I think you're right.
I think it comes off Son. So yeah, he's got 2 goals in a couple of minutes, Son. So very, very unlucky for him. Yeah, it comes off Son's thigh, so really unfortunate for him, but obviously fantastic for City to get one back straight away.
Yeah, hoping to stick out a leg that might have seen it away, but actually Son gets his second goal at the game, one at the right end where Spurs are concerned, one at the right end where Manchester City are concerned. And the ball nestles in the bottom right-hand corner.
Isn't it amazing how many times that happens when someone scores at both ends? It's, I feel for him, to be fair, because there's nothing he could do. It looked like he was going to get a couple of flicks and it's just hit him, but, from City's point of view, absolutely fantastic. They're straight back in the game.
It's usually the other way around, though, isn't it? An own goal goes in first, and at the other end, they sort it out. But it is Son on the score sheet twice. City 1, Spurs 1 then. And we've only played 9 minutes of the game. City want to win it back straight away, and Walker has done, and Alvarez can set off down the middle, wants to use Doku on the left hand side. Spurs were a little bit narrow there, and now it's their turn to counter attack. Oh, it's end to end this. What a great start to the game as Spurs come forward midway inside their own half. Here's Gil tries to play the 1-2 with Dejan Kulusevski, who scored for Spurs in a win here a few years ago, but
we've been going 10 minutes, Mark, and it's already end-to-end stuff, isn't it?
It's a great watch. City's last few games have been incredible. The Chelsea 4-4 draw, the Liverpool 1-1 draw, Leipzig, and now this as well, as it's 1-1 with Spurs on the left-hand side, near side. Yves Bissouma is closed down and wins the throw-in for Spurs just inside the Manchester City half.
Yeah, maybe the game will settle down. I mean, the way City pressed straight after they scored, it was unbelievable.
Intensity, and Son's off again here. Akanji just steps across him well, gets himself in between player and ball and sends it back to Edison, and City have played their way out of trouble quite nicely there.
We've only been going 10 or 11 minutes, but I certainly don't think this one's going to finish 1-1, that is for sure.
Well, there's the curse of the commentator if I've ever heard it. You can go home now. Go to bed now if you were staying up, perhaps, to listen to the conclusion of this game. 1-1 after 10 minutes, and it's Diaz across his own penalty area to use Manuel Akanji. Since losing against Spurs here in February 2022, Manchester City have lost just one of their next 48 home games in all competitions. That was against Brentford over a year ago. Can they turn it around here? They're halfway there with the equaliser, the Son own goal, after Son opened the scoring. Walker with his rainbow armband on today at his Premier League Rainbow Laces fortnight. Kyle Walker with the armband on sends it back to Edison, who sends it out to the left-hand side. Nice control from Doku and Vardiol, and now here's Alvarez steaming down the middle, uses Foden on the right of the penalty area, takes a touch, gets on his left foot. Foden with the low shot near post. Oh, it's flicked up again. Spurs are in all sorts of trouble here as Bernardo Silva tries to bicycle kick a volley in to assist Haaland perhaps. Vicario in the way, pats it down on the floor and holds it gratefully in his hands.
Yeah, Foden got the ball there, and Bernardo's made a great run round him to create a bit of an angle. He's chopped back onto his favoured left side, and ultimately his shot was blocked. But yeah, it's interesting. Spurs are playing this really, really high line. It's almost on the halfway line, so there's so much space.
Bernardo Silva, across goal. Haaland! Oh! You'd have put your house on him scoring from that. 8 yards out, first time shot, wide of the right hand post. City 1, Spurs 1.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the stadium can believe he's missed it. He just didn't seem to get the best contact. Tottenham again sort of trying to play out, they get caught, and yeah, it ends up getting squared to Haaland, who's probably 10 yards out and on his favoured left side, and he's just not got the contact he wanted, and he's just put it 2 foot wide.
Vicario scrambling across his goal. It was a tap in for Erling Haaland, but City haven't managed to make Tottenham pay.
When he does, I mean, I'm not criticising him one bit. He does miss the odd chance though, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. Listen, he scores bundles, don't get me wrong, but you know, if he scored every sort of chance he get, it'd be unbelievable.
50 Premier League goals in 48 games before today for Erling Haaland. Manchester City have never lost when he's scored. Should have scored then. 1-1 after 13 minutes on Total Sport, BBC Radio Manchester. We've had the draw for the FA Cup third round today as well. Rodri just has it inside the centre circle, swipes it over to this right hand side where Kyle Walker is. Manchester City will host Huddersfield in round 3, first weekend of January. The big tie sees two of our local sides go head to head in Wigan against Manchester United. Sean Maloney, now the Wigan boss, once famously scored against Manchester United in a game that actually helped swing the title in Manchester City's favour in 2012 when they came from 8 points behind the Reds to win the title on the final day with the Aguero moment. So Wigan, Manchester United. Stockport, who you heard earlier, drew 2-2 with Alfredson. So replay, not Alfredson, sorry, Aldershot. So a replay to be had there. The winner of that will take on West Brom at the Hawthorns. And then the other tie in our local side sees Bolton go to Luton, where Manchester City are a week today in the Premier League. A couple of fouls on Spurs players. Eventually the referee concedes one of them. And Spurs have a free kick on this near side. Down went Giovanni Lo Celso. And Spurs, in front of their manager Ange Postecoglou, take the free kick short. Here's Emerson Royale. He scored on this ground last year as Spurs went 2-0 up at half-time. Manchester City 4-2 winners, 2 late goals from Riyad Mahrez. Vicario, the ball just ran across him there and he nearly lost sight of the ball. Vardiol is able to step in as he plays it out towards the far side. Vardiol on the left, whips in across, looking for Haaland. Oh, Spurs can't quite defend that. Haaland wasn't expecting the ball with 2 Spurs players in front of him. He thought one of them would deal with it. Not on this occasion. Here's Walker right hand side. Rodri, Phil Foden draws level with the corner of the penalty area and then lays it back to Rodri. Here's Akanji, Rodri again, and into the centre circle for Ruben Diaz as Manchester City keep the ball ticking over. 1-1 the score, quarter of an hour played. Doku in on the left hand side, will get into the penalty area, lay it off for Bernardo Silva, who then tries to send in a cross, deflects behind. It's another Manchester City corner.
Yeah, I think it's the 4th corner in 15 minutes, so you know that tells you where most of the play's been. Obviously Spurs look dangerous on the counter, but yeah, let's see if Alvarez can whip another dangerous one into that near post area.
Been a bright start. Manchester City starting to get on top now as the rain continues to fall at a fair rate. It's a corner on the far side, City's left. Alvarez over it, right-footed, in-swinging delivery, headed away easily by Spurs in their 6-yard box. Foden, it didn't quite sit for Foden, a loose ball. Bernardo Silva's trying to win it back. Now he's weaving his way past 3 or 4 Spurs players, and then Haaland's shot hits the defender and goes behind. It is manic when it gets into the penalty area.
Yeah, there seems to be players everywhere. Everyone from Tottenham's back, so there's 11 Tottenham players in the box. Bernardo, twinkle toes there with the ball and managed to sort of scoop it to Haaland, who didn't really have time to get a shot, but it deflected wide for another corner on the same side.
Which Alvarez takes short this time, just knocks it into the path of Doku, who waits and waits and sees what his options are. Now Bernardo Silva, low whipped in ball, but it's easily away with a diving header from the edge of the Spurs penalty area. Comes back to Alvarez, who floats that one across the penalty area with a little bit of ferocity to Ruben Diaz, who's now in a wrestling match with Udogie, and some lovely footwork on this near side. And Kulusevski goes down. Ball's gone out of play anyway. It's a Manchester City throw.
Yeah, it's not settled down at all, has it? We've been going nearly 17 minutes and it really is a high energy affair. Let's hope it stays like this, because it's a fantastic game to watch.
I say, I'm enjoying it. Don't let it stop. Here's Rodri, clips the ball out towards the left-hand side, take it on the chest of Jeremy Doku, who again squares up alongside Pedro Porro, cuts in field on his right boot, then switches it to his left towards the byline. Challenge comes in, and Spurs play it out towards that far side, but
just said a couple of times Doku to reluctant to whip a crossing on his right foot there. He's done it a couple of times now where he's chopped back onto his left.
Really stretching the Spurs defence. 1-1 the score. 2 early goals, both from Son at both ends, an own goal as well for the Spurs striker. Here's Kyle Walker, the former Tottenham player, against his former club where he moved from to Manchester City.
I mean, I think he's been here 5-6 years now. He's won sort of 5 Premier League titles. Something really is amazing. What a move at what a time for him.
I was going to say, it worked out all right for him, didn't it? Kyle Walker, who elected to stay at Manchester City in the summer as well. Here he is, just cushioning.
One of the players, he just seems to get better with age, doesn't he? I mean, he's so athletic, and people talk about losing the yard of pace. He certainly hasn't done that.
He sent one over the top for Erling Haaland, right hand side. Only Alvarez in the penalty area for now. Haaland is looking for that option, tries to switch it to the far side for Doku. Intercepted by Spurs. Where's the loose ball going this time? Back to the Spurs goalkeeper Vicario, who sends it away high and long out towards the far side. Rodri knocks the ball back on the turf. Spurs react to the second ball in Rodri doing so. Here's Lo Celso, turns out on the left hand side. Will have to turn back to his own penalty area. Emerson Royal inviting Alvarez to get all over the back of him, and Alvarez is not giving up the chase, but Tottenham have played that out well and now move it just onto the edge of the D, left hand side of the field where they're concerned, which is the near side. Brian Gill just waits for it on the halfway line and eventually gets it from Ben Davies. Pep Guardiola's just pointing to Erling Haaland on the halfway line, asking him maybe to cover a position. Here's Lo Celso as Spurs get into the Manchester City half for the first time in a while. 1-1 on BBC Radio Manchester, available anywhere in the UK on BBC Sounds. Here's Ben Davies, the Welsh centre-back of Tottenham, to Emerson Royal, who once again interchanges passes with Davis on this near side. Gill comes short to support. He's got Manuel Akanji all over the back of him, deals with it well, and back to Davis once again.
Yeah, he just does seem to have settled down slightly now in these last 3 or 4 minutes. Tottenham getting some passes in. They do play high-risk football at the back, but I suppose everybody does these days.
Son flicks it on. It's all right for Spurs, that, as they get it into the centre circle. Now Gill left-hand side. Udogie's made a run, trying to get in behind Kyle Walker, which he does. Holds it up on the byline, tries to get in the cross, hits Manuel Akanji, and Spurs now have their first corner of the game.
Yeah, probably the best little spell Tottenham have had. A couple of minutes there, they had good possession. Obviously, when you come to the Etihad, you know you're not going to dominate possession, but Spurs had a couple of good minutes there, which has resulted in their first corner of the game.
Doggy doing well on the left-hand side. Played against plenty of Manchester City players in.
Tell you something, just sorry, Mike, for interrupting, but if you look at the zonal marking there, there's some big boys there, isn't there? When you look at Guardiola and Akanji and Diaz and Haaland and Rodri, you'll be very disappointed to get done on a set piece here.
See what happens as Spurs stroke it to the edge of the penalty area, choosing not to whip it in with height, maybe for that reason. Comes back to the corner taker, who sends it in, headed down by Akanji. Diaz has to see it further away. Right hand side of the penalty area here for Kulusevski, who rolls it in on the tight angle for Porro to try and get the assist. And it's another corner to Tottenham. Just to go back to Udogie, the Italian, played against Kyle Walker, John Stones and Phil Foden in England's 3-1 win during the recent international break for Euro 2024 qualifying. England, of course, found out their groups recently, as did Wales and Scotland. In fact, Scotland are going to open Euro 2024 against Germany, the hosts. So you can check it all out on the BBC Sport website and app. It's also where you've got commentary of this game anywhere in the UK on BBC Sounds. Corner right-hand side to Tottenham. Everybody back for Manchester City as the corner sent in, out swinging delivery. Akanji gets the header away. It'll drop to Kulusevski midway inside the Manchester City half. Struggled to control it. Sends it to Udogie. And in the centre circle now, Lo Celso. Interchange of passing using Emerson Royal. Here's Ben Davies, just inside the Spurs half by 2 or 3 yards or so. Centre circle, needs an outlet, has to go very short to Lo Celso, who can only kind of hit and hope. out towards the right-hand side. 21 minutes played. City 1, Spurs 1. Down the right-hand side they go, the far side. Diaz across to mop it up, and Manchester City back in control with Edison to Akanji, who had the late call that Kulusevski was racing in behind him. As Manchester City now are the ones to calmly play it out of the back. Here's Kyle Walker to Phil Foden on the halfway line. He's gone over the top looking for the run of Haaland. It might just bend a little bit too close to the Spurs penalty area. Vicario was off his line quickly enough and on the edge of his penalty area gathers the ball. 1-1.
Yeah, it was nearly a great ball from Foden, but it just had a little bit too much curl on it. And once it bounces on this wet, slick surface, it was always going to bounce through to Vicario.
Rodri. City win it back again inside the Spurs half. Alvarez with his back to goal has to use Rodri as a little side pass. Now Bernardo Silva right on the touchline near side into the middle for Alvarez, who wanted to nudge it through for Erling Haaland. Thinks he should have got a free kick there, and Pep Guardiola just half-heartedly threw his arms up in the air as well, thinking the same. As Spurs go long over the top, looking for the run on that far side of Brennan Johnson, who puts it in across goal, and the sliding interception from Ruben Diaz sees it behind for a corner. For a brief moment, heart stopped in this stadium, thinking it might have nestled in the back of the net.
Yeah, it's a great take from Brennan Johnson. He does Guardiola for pace. It's fantastic from him. And yeah, as the ball comes in, it's a fantastic last-ditch sliding, sort of lunging save from Diaz. So yeah, fantastic defending from Diaz. Another corner for Spurs. I think this is their third now. So good if you're having a spread bet on the corners.
Absolutely. He's Spurs short from the corner then, with Kulusevski on the right-hand side of it. Whips one in. Oh, Edison came for it and then left it confidently, thinking it was going wide. It did go wide. It was the right call from the Manchester City goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think it did.
I saw you twitch.
I always twitch when it goes to the goalkeeper. But yeah, I think we've got the wrong angle on that. So it was probably 6 foot wide when it looked 6 inches wide from here.
Edison then with the goal kick for Manchester City, who are drawing 1-1 here at the Etihad Stadium on a cold December afternoon. Nizu Doggy in the left back position for Tottenham. Ball just keeps rolling deeper and deeper into their own half. Back to Vicario. It's Tottenham goalkeeper who is not kept a clean sheet, including this one, in his last 5 games now. Tottenham on the back of 3 straight defeats. They haven't gone on a longer run since the days of Jacques Santini and Martin Jol as their managers. Both lost 3 each. Martin Jol's first 3 games were 3 defeats, and he was coming in off the back of 3 defeats for Jacques Santini. 2004 that was, for those who were playing the memory game. And each of Spurs' last 3 defeats, they scored the first goal, and that's what they did here as well at the Etihad Stadium, taking the lead through Son before he scored an own goal off a Julian Alvarez free kick. Doku on the left-hand side for Manchester City. 25 minutes played in this game. 1-1 the score. Ruben Diaz on the halfway line. Back out wide to Doku, who now has a little bit of space to assess the options and have a charge in on Pedro Porro. Plays the 1-2 with Alvarez. The knock back through to Doku, though, was poor. And Spurs have got themselves a free kick. Doku just wrestling for the ball a little bit too harshly.
You just mentioned, you know, Tottenham's clean sheets there, Mike, and talking to Phil Brown before the game about it as well. It's sort of it's almost a non-issue now, a clean sheet. No one really seems to, you know, sort of treasure a clean sheet like we used to.
I think Angie's method is most definitely you score 1, we'll score 2. As Bernardo Silva puts through Kyle Walker, who's got to get the pace on, sends in the cross back post. It's gone right along the crossbar. Oh, it has gone out now. It's offside. The fourth of the linesman on this near side flagging.
Slightly better ball there from Bernardo into Kyle Walker, and he's in a really threatening position. He was always just on the stretch, but it's flagged for offside anyway. So.
Yeah, he had to really put the pace on there, Kyle Walker, didn't he? Did well to keep it in on the cross on the slide that went right over the top of the crossbar, but never bent out of play. Manchester City with Julian Alvarez on the far side, the left. 1-1 the score. We've had such a frantic start. Things have calmed down a little bit, but the way these two teams play, I feel a goal is never too far away. Here's Vardiol into Bernardo Silva, who's peeling away right on that left-hand side now. He's been on the right with Phil Foden for parts of the game, been in the middle, and now finds himself on the left. A fluid role for the Portuguese international. 1-1 after 26 minutes, and it's Doku on the left-hand side. Won't have a run at Porro this time, and Brennan Johnson's also back doing some defensive work for Spurs as they double up on the exciting Belgian winger. Here's Ruben Diaz. Diaz to Kyle Walker, right hand side. Phil Foden up against Destiny Udogie. Has a check back and uses Kyle Walker. 1-1. Diaz on the halfway line.
Yeah, sort of just over 26 minutes gone now, and the game does seem to have settled down somewhat. It's not as frantic as it was in the opening 15. City are just enjoying a good bit of possession in the Tottenham half here.
Well, they've burnt themselves out probably after the first 15 minutes.
Well, it couldn't keep on like that, could it? The first 10 minutes was ridiculous. As Son goes to press now, he really does press with intensity, doesn't he?
Here's Bernardo Silva, loose pass, and Brian Gill's in here for Tottenham, in on the penalty area, wants to look for Son. Rodri gets back, ball clatters him, and behind for another Spurs corner.
Yeah, it's just loose from City, and Brian Gill got the ball. Yeah, I think he's just delayed a little bit, let the City defenders get back in. It was a loose one from Bernardo, you rarely see that. And I think Brian Gill's just delayed it, and I think it was Rodri who got back in. So Son was free on the back stick if he'd have played it maybe a second or two earlier.
Son was appealing for it as well. I think he's now having a word with Brian Gill in the 6-yard box to say, what were you doing? I was screaming for it, I wanted it. Right, that is a packed 6-yard box. There's all but about 5 players out of it at the minute. Ederson stands on his goal line. In comes the corner from Brennan Johnson, flicked on by Emerson Royale and then volleyed away by Bernardo Silva up towards the halfway line. That's a kind bounce that might help out Rodri. And he wins the ball. Vardiol out towards the left. Bernardo Silva. That's a better pass this time in towards Alvarez, but the sliding challenge comes in from Ben Davis. Manchester City have a throw-in which they take quickly from midway inside the Spurs half. Far side City's left as we get closer to the half-hour mark. It is still 1-1. Crossfield pass is brought down by Kyle Walker on the right-hand side. Foden doesn't want to take on the left back of Udogie this time, so back down the line for Kyle Walker. He returns it to Phil Foden, who's got his back to goal, pushes the ball into the Manchester City half. And Kyle Walker sees it back to Ruben Diaz. Ederson on
very
the
rare.
6-yard box.
You know, Spurs are really pressed. It's very rare you see people press Ederson like Son has, because he's obviously so competent with the ball at his feet. His team sort of leave him alone and let him have possession of it. Where Son, every time it goes back to Ederson, Son's really charged it down.
Foden just nicks in a pass that was going back down the line towards Giovanni Lo Celso. So City on the attack here with Doku into the penalty area, and with pace, Doku off the bar, and the rebound doesn't fall across the line either as it moved to the other side of the goal. Doku cutting in, lifted the ball up, keeper beaten, post denies, Tottenham conceding again. City 1, Spurs 1.
Yeah, terrific from Doku. He gets the ball on the left hand side, cuts in. I think it might hit post and bar, you know. He's cutting. Yeah, he seems to hit right on the angle there of post and bar. It's a fantastic effort, and if it's 6 inches lower, it's 2-1 City.
Great effort from a man who's up for the Club Player of the Month award for November, Jeremy Doku. You'll be not surprised to know Erling Haaland's also within a shout of that, given the number of goals he scores. It bends out towards this near side. Bernardo Silva back on the right for Manchester City. Half an hour played, 1-1. Kyle Walker has it just outside the centre circle. Woodwork denying Jeremy Doku, putting Manchester City in front in this game. Ederson has it under less pressure this time inside his 18-yard box. Uses Bernardo Silva, who goes long, asking for the run Haaland, and that's good defending by Emerson Royale on the slide to try and stretch his body to get the ball before Haaland did, and sent it back to his goalkeeper Vicario. But then Udogie's just kicked it out for a Manchester City throw-in on this near side level with the penalty area. Bernardo Silva takes it quickly, wanting to keep the play ticking in Manchester City's favour. Rodri floated ball out towards the left-hand side. Jeremy Doku just rolls it under his right boot, sends it back to the corner of the penalty area for Vardiol to send in deep. Will it reach Bernardo Silva? It won't. Well, it will, but via the head of Udogie, so no shooting opportunity for Bernardo Silva. He now bends one in left-footed. Emerson Royale volleys it away with the side of his boot, trying to adjust his body on the angle. That's well won back by Vardiol. Haaland out to the left-hand side for Jeremy Doku. In towards Alvarez, got his back to goal. There's Foden! And Manchester City have turned it around yet again at the Etihad Stadium. Trailing early on to Son's goal. Phil Foden has put them 2-1 up. Close range finish. Nice play on the edge of the penalty area. Well won by Vardiol. Haaland out wide, Foden in the right place at the right time, and it's Manchester City 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Yeah, it's fantastic finish from Phil Foden there. Haaland plays it out wide to Doku, and it looked like he got no space. A fantastic run. I think it's is it Bernardo? I think it's Alvarez. He's squared it back into Foden. Lovely touch and a lovely finish. Yeah, Doku's got it down there. Nutmegs somebody, gives it to Alvarez. Oh, and he's 6 yards out. Phil Foden has a great first touch. Fantastic ball from Alvarez, isn't it? Great first touch from Foden, and he just slots it in the goalkeeper's near side. 2-1 City.
Tottenham players all looking at each other in the aftermath of that. The 3 of the 4 defenders all asking, well, who was picking up Phil Foden? The answer was no one. And Foden from close range finishes it. City 2, Tottenham 1.
Fantastic run from Alvarez. Really intricate play on the edge of the box, and City are going again here.
They want a bit of daylight between themselves and Spurs.
And that's the thing with City, isn't it? You know, here we are again.
With Bernardo in on the left. Haaland was waiting in the 6-yard box. Ben Davies slides in, sends it over the bar. And again, all the Tottenham players just looking at one another. Who's picking up who? They look a bit lost out there. And Manchester City have a corner far side.
There's another corner. We've had some dangerous corners so far. Let's see if he can whip another one here.
Alvarez on the left-hand side. City leading 2-1, 13 minutes before the break. Puts a left arm in the air. And then sends in an in-swinging corner near post. Tried to be flicked on by Haaland, but it had gone over his head. And then Spurs were able to clear it away. And Doku's first option is to go back to Ederson inside his own half. Actually, at the midway point of the Manchester City half, Ederson's come out all that way. Waited and waited for Bryan Gill to close him down, and then sends it out towards this near side. Here is Foden, just away from the right corner of the penalty area. Manchester City in sky blue shirts that are getting a little bit darker due to the amount of rain that's falling in East Manchester. Left to right, Tottenham in there. Brown away kits are right to left, and Tottenham have won a free kick pretty centrally inside their own half. City 2, Tottenham 1.
I told you it wouldn't end 1-1, Mike, didn't I?
You did.
I don't think it'll end 2-1 either, by the way. But yeah, City look really... Spurs look dangerous on the counter, but, you know, City have got that much pace and they've got that much quality in and around Spurs' box. You know, they can open them up at any time.
An important win as it stands for Manchester City to keep tabs with Arsenal. Kyle Walker said he doesn't want to play catch-up this season. Wants City to keep pace, or even, if not, set the pace in the Premier League, and he wants 4 Premier League titles rather than back-to-back Champions Leagues, he was saying a little bit early. If you missed it, you can listen back on BBC Sounds as Pedro Porro goes over. So Spurs now have another free kick midway inside the Manchester City half this time. Rodri is booked for the foul, and Johnson and the Celso stand over this free kick. In fact, Johnson's just moved away. It's a short free kick taken quickly by Spurs. I'm not really sure what their plan of action was there, because they haven't gained any ground. In fact, they've given it away to Haaland on the halfway line. Bernardo Silva will want to go and give it to Alvarez, which he does. Alvarez on the right of the penalty area. Alvarez is shot off the post, and for the second time in this game, the woodwork denies Manchester City. Alvarez a cross goal from the right of the penalty area, hits the base of the left-hand frame. 2-1.
I mean, that come from a Tottenham free kick deep in City, so I really don't know what they were doing, and they've ended up giving it away cheaply. Alvarez gets the ball. It is a good 20 yards out, 18 yards out, and a tight angle. Is it a great shot? It just had a little bit of curl on it, which took it to the post and out as opposed to the post and in. But fantastic effort from Alvarez, but it was all Spurs' own doing.
They have cost themselves in this game. They're not as strong as they want to be. There are injuries to the likes of Mickey van der Ven and James Maddison within their ranks, but can't be making mistakes like that in such an important game for both sides. City nearly gifted a third goal in this game, and Rodri's going on the press here, and he's won it. Alvarez is in again. Can he get the shot away on his left boot? We'll try and find Haaland. Oh no. Well, that was worse than the other attempt he had. Over the bar, left-footed. Poor effort. He looks glum. It was a glum effort. 2-1.
Yeah, you're expecting him to hit the target. I think he's slightly on the lean back, but again, Spurs messing around with the ball 25 yards out, not under loads of pressure, and really sloppy with it. I think it was Bazuma this time. Gives it to Alvarez. You expected him to get his shot off. He didn't. He managed to square it to Haaland, who's probably 16 yards out, 15, 16 yards out. Perhaps just behind him in his defence, but you'd expect him to hit the target for sure.
It's a wild swipe of the ball, but yeah. Spurs not helping themselves. Play on, says the referee. The ball flicked up in front of Son and hit his hand, but Simon Hooper happy that Manchester City were in possession shortly after that. 36 minutes played, City 2, Tottenham 1. I mean, realistically, Nicky Weaver, what could this scoreline be, given City have hit the woodwork twice? Haaland's had a couple of golden efforts.
7-3, something like that. I don't think we've been unrealistic.
I think not. Here's Doku, just outside the left corner of the penalty area. Waits and sees this is an option available to him. Here's Vardiol to Doku again, and just stands with the ball dead at his feet. Wants to guide it past Brennan Johnson. Back down the left-hand line he goes for Vardiol, Kanji. Diaz inside the centre circle, lets the ball run across his body, and now Kyle Walker right-hand side. Foden just gets the advantage on a Doggy, who perhaps didn't know Foden was coming in from behind there. Stuck out a leg, and referee's going to his pocket. It's going to be a yellow card to the Italian left-back of Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, like you said, Foden sort of nipped in. I don't think he saw him. We'll get a little look on the replay here. He definitely saw him, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah,
cleans him out, doesn't he?
Cleans him out. Definitely yellow card.
That's one yellow card apiece. It's 2-1 in the advantage of Manchester City here, with Edison out towards the left-hand side for a Tottenham throw, and he just scoops it up and couldn't find Jeremy Doku on the far side. Yeah, that's all because Son's pressing him. So yeah, Son will, has used a lot of energy this first half, that is for sure. Pressing has obviously got his goal and an own goal, unfortunately for him. 7 minutes to the break. Manchester City from 1-0 down, lead by 2-1. Tottenham playing it again on the edge of their own penalty area. But if they can get out, they've got 4 in a line against City's back 3 here. So yeah, if they can beat the press, which they're struggling to do at the moment, they'll fancy themselves on the counter. Lofted ball over the top. Son will go on the chase with Ruben Diaz. Will try and knock it on through for Brian Gill. Diaz is able to recover and hooks it away and just sees it out of the penalty area now, with Spurs going forward. Can City quickly play it out? Well, Foden's played that behind Rodri, so Spurs win it back here. Here's Johnson into Porro in the edge of the penalty area, looking for Brian Gill. It's away by Akanji in the 6-yard box, and out towards the far side, where Doku might have a run down the touchline here. Doesn't seem to be screaming with pace. Holds it up a little bit. Tottenham have 6 players behind the ball at this moment. Rodri out towards the right-hand side for Bernardo Silva. Bit surprised there, Doku didn't really want to put the afterburners on and see... have a look at Pedro Porro there. It must be a horrible position to be in if you're Porro, knowing you're up against someone as quick as Doku. Might have another go here. Doku in again, left-hand side of the penalty area. He's had one curling effort that's hit the bar. That one just hits the defender and spins away. Gill turning onto the edge of his own penalty area with Kyle Walker all over him. Plays it into the middle. Foden's there to pick it off and reacts first. Here's Akanji. City leading by 2-1. Rodri. Bernardo Silva. Back towards the halfway line, to the right of the centre circle for Manuel Akanji. 6 minutes to half-time. A floated delivery out towards the far side, which Jeremy Doku can bring down. There's a quick 1-2 with Joško Vardiol. Here is Doku again, then 2 defenders on him. Lays it back to Vardiol, sends in the deep cross. That one comes to Phil Foden, right-hand side. Bicycle kicks it back into the centre of the box, but Spurs have managed to get the header away and have won a free kick inside the D in their own half. Yeah, just sense a little bit of frustration, I think, from City. I think, at the bar, at the post, Haaland's had a couple of chances where he should have scored. So although we're winning 2-1, it perhaps should be a bit more. And I think you can just sense just a smidgen of frustration within the stadium. City, who've only lost 2 of their last 14 games against Spurs here at the Etihad Stadium, winning 10 of those 14. The 2 wins were both in the Premier League, where Tottenham are concerned, but it's City with the advantage at the moment. The Spurs play it out from the back. A little bit of a calmer atmosphere around the Etihad Stadium, what we've had, and Spurs have played it out well here. Son in the centre circle, uses the outside of his boot to lay it low along the turf towards Brian Gill. Walker's across, and it's a comfortable gather for Edison inside his 6-yard box. Nicky Weaver. Yeah, Kyle Walker did well there, snuffing it out. Brian Gill has had a few opportunities down this left-hand side. In the hole, Kyle Walker's done well. And yeah, we've just got 4 minutes to go, plus added time. So yeah, I'm sure Tottenham will want to get at half-time at 2-1, and City will want to try and get a third before the break. Absolutely. Here's Ruben Diaz away from the corner on this near side. City were deep inside their own half. Rodri, almost no look, has just fired it into the night sky for Jeremy Doku, who brings it down relatively well and has the left-hand side to attack the Spurs half. On the edge of the penalty area is where the ball is right now, as hits a defender. Rodri goes over. I think that was a little bit more of his own doing, and Spurs are not wasting any time here because Son sent it out to the right-hand side. They're looking for the run of Brian Gill. The pace of Walker is back there, and he snuffs it out once again. Brilliant work from Kyle Walker, who has some of the Manchester City fans on their feet applauding that bit of defensive work.
Yeah, fantastic. Brian Gill, he had a couple of yards on him there, but once Walker gets going, there's not many people in world football that will keep up with him, and that's a couple of times now he's just snuffed the Tottenham attack out. So yeah, fantastic from Kyle Walker, and that's why we talk about this high press. That's why, you know, Pep's quite happy to leave it 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 at the back when you've got the pace of, you know, people like Kyle Walker around.
Foden, again, it's another change from the near side, the right, to the far side left, and it's Jeremy Doku involved in play again, into the penalty area, towards the byline, hits Emerson Royal as it enters the 6-yard box, bounces away back out towards the far side, and I think the referee's given Tottenham a free kick in all of that. Brennan Johnson is fouled.
I think Tottenham have dealt with Doku quite well. I know he had one where he cut inside and got his shot off, but he's had some great opportunities down that left-hand side, but they doubled up on him a little bit. Brennan Johnson gets back, Pedro Porro's there, so I think they've looked after him reasonably well, to be fair to Tottenham. 2.5
minutes to the break. City 2, Tottenham 1. Here's Diaz out towards the left-hand side for Joško Vardiol. Back to Ruben Diaz, who has started 12 of the 14 Premier League games that Manchester City have played this season. John Stones on the bench, as is Nathan Ake where the defence is concerned. Kovacic, Grealish, Gomez, Bob, Lewis and Phillips, the other options for Pep Guardiola should he choose to change things up. However, he is a man for rhythm and consistency, and will probably feel, after turning down a 1-goal deficit into 2-1 in this game, that Manchester City are in a good place. Edison out towards the right-hand side. Walker just steers the ball round the corner into the path of Phil Foden. Here's Bernardo Silva just moving ever so slightly to the right-hand side. Hasn't got any options out of there. Foden's gone central. So Bernardo Silva sends it infield again to use Akanji. Rodri through to Jeremy Doku. The touch is heavy and he had to rush the shot, which hits a Spurs defender offside anyway. Wouldn't have counted. Spurs free kick inside their own penalty area.
Yeah, another dangerous situation Doku gets into, but obviously is offside, so Tottenham managed to snuff it out. But it's just a couple of minutes, a minute left plus ever what the fourth official adds on. So yes, I'm sure Tottenham will be quite happy to get back into the dressing room at 2-1.
They did have the lead. Son scoring his 8th goal against a Pep Guardiola Manchester City. Only Mo Salah on 11 and Jamie Vardy on 9 have as many goals as Son Heung-min, but it all counts for nothing at the moment because they trail by 2-1. Phil Foden, for the second time this week, scoring at the Etihad Stadium. Man of the match against Leipzig, Phil Foden. He's another contender for that award when he came on, Jeremy Doku. Although he's given Spurs a free kick, so they take it from midway inside their own half, launch it over the top. Kyle Walker again is there for Manchester City. Initially takes it on his thigh, knocks it back into the penalty area, goes back to Edison. How do they get away with that? A, surviving the corner, and B, surviving hitting it against a Spurs player. Edison just clipped it between two players on the press.
Toe poke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He got stitched up a little bit there. Kyle Walker's been terrific, but just a little lapse in concentration. Edison wanted it across him, and he ended up putting it on Edison's right foot, which is obviously not his favourite. He ended up having a touch and toe poking it between the two of Tottenham attackers.
3 minutes of added time shown, so we're into that. City leading by 2-1. It's a long ball away by the Spurs goalkeeper Vicario from just outside his penalty area. The loose ball runs out towards the far side touchline. Bernardo Silva is able to get there first for Manchester City. Has time to assess his options. Diaz uses Rodri. Rodri uses Edison. That's a better clearance away from his penalty area this time with Kyle Walker, who will spin on the ball. Foden, midway inside his own half, has come deep to assist Kyle Walker here. Walker then pokes it on through for Rodri in a central position. Foden helps him out. Ruben Diaz can start to bring the ball forward. Diaz up towards the halfway line, uses Vardiol on the left. He sends it down the left touchline for Jeremy Doku. Appeals that went out of play, but for now, play continues here for Manchester City. Doku back to Vardiol as a hush descends around the Etihad Stadium, maybe waiting for one final moment at the end of this first half. 3 minutes of added time. City 2, Tottenham 1. We've had the first minute. Here's Bernardo Silva now on the right. Manuel Akanji. I'd love to see Bernardo Silva's heat map and distances from his tracker. There's not many blades of grass that he hasn't touched, I don't think.
All over the place, hasn't he? I love watching him play. He's one of my favourite players. He's got so much energy, so much quality, so much awareness. It really is a joy to watch.
Akanji out towards the left. Doku on the chest control. Vardiol's advanced ahead of him, but for now Doku carries the ball forward, uses Vardiol. The first time crossing from him, it deflects into the path of Julian Alvarez, who assisted Manchester City's second goal. In fact, he assisted the first technically, didn't he? Because he sent in the free kick that came off Son for 1-1. City lead 2-1. We've got a minute left of the 3 that were added on. Spurs have blasted that away. Anywhere will do for them, as long as it's not near their penalty area. Ruben Diaz on the chase to collect.
Yeah, like I said before, I think Spurs will be relatively happy to get in at 2-1, still right in the game. City have had some chances, could have made it 3 or 4-1, not quite to be. Tottenham will be just happy to see this one out, I think.
Foden battling with Emerson Royal there, and throwing Tottenham is the decision from the referees. The ball goes out of play on the far side. City's left, Tottenham's right, and the throwing is level with the corner of the penalty area. Ange Postecoglou watches on, not giving much away with his facial expressions. The ball goes down the far side from the throw. City have won it back almost instantaneously. Diaz helping out there. Doku, Vardiol, back to Diaz again on the halfway line. That is the 3 minutes off. It's almost as if the players are watching the clock and expecting the referee to blow his whistle for half time, which he does. Well, Spurs on the counter-attack, open the scoring. Son's 8th goal against Manchester City went under Edison and put the visitors 1-0 up, but then at the other end, moments later, free kick by Alvarez whipped in, comes off Son for 1-1, so a goal at either end for the South Korean international. But it's Phil Foden after some brilliant work on the edge of the penalty area between Haaland, Vardiol, Doku, Alvarez, and then the youngster from Stockport putting it into the bottom left-hand corner. Means at the break in this top of the table Premier League clash, City 2, Tottenham 1.
Nicky, before we talk about the first half in depth, I mean the goals, I mean that's quite a bizarre one, looking at the score sheet there, that the same person scored at either end within a couple of minutes. Not sure whether that's a record actually, not one that you would want to have of course, but talk us through the Tottenham goal and then the very quick reply, which ended up being a goal, of course an own goal from Son Heung-min, as well as Mike just said.
Yeah, obviously we know how dangerous Son is on the break. The ball got slotted into him. He got a lot to do. He kept going. It was a little bit of a wide angle. Edison perhaps should have done a little bit better. It sort of squeezed under him a little bit, but it's a good hit from him. Plenty of pace on it, and it went in. Like I said, we all know how dangerous he is on the break, and it has been really lively Son in this first half. Every time the ball's gone back to Edison, he's really closed him down and pressed him. And then, yeah, obviously a couple of minutes later, you know, the ball gets whipped in from Alvarez. It looked like Haaland was going to head it, he just missed it. Looked like one of the other defenders was just going to get a touch on it, and it ended up sort of hitting Son on his thigh as he was sort of in a running motion, and he scored 2 in 2 minutes really, which is unfortunate for him I suppose in one way, but a little bit bittersweet I suppose.
Yeah, it certainly is, and as I say, I'm not sure that it's been done quite that quickly before, but then of course to put City in front, a great finish and great build-up finish from Phil Foden. That was on 31 minutes.
Yeah, terrific finish. Great little run from Julian Alvarez. He ends up getting the ball, quick turn, put it into Phil Foden, touch, bottom corner. So really clinical from City in and around Tottenham's box. And obviously that made it a great finish from Phil Foden. And obviously that made it 2-1. They'll perhaps think, on the balance of play, Doku's hit the crossbar, Alvarez has hit the post. So I think Tottenham will be the happier of the two, if you can be happy going in losing, because it could have been 3 and 4. And if it does get to that, the game then goes away from Tottenham.
I certainly heard Mike asking you how many goals there could be in this one. 3 already in the first half. Of all the predictions that I've heard in the build-up to this one, and I know 5 Live were talking about this morning, they had a fan on saying, if I were you, I'd put your money on Son scoring, and they were quite right. Another thing they said was that they were expecting lots of goals. Explain to us why that is. What is it about the defensive positions for both sides that make them vulnerable, perhaps? Maybe more in Spurs' case than City, of course.
Well, Tottenham are taking risks at the back, and they played it around the back. When they beat City's press, they do look dangerous, and they can get they can get out of City's back line. When City win the ball back high up the pitch, City are in on goal, and it's often, you know, almost man for man us, or you'll have a slight overload. So yeah, so it's a high risk strategy that Tottenham are playing. If they can beat the press and get into that middle area, then they've got willing runners going forward. So it's a little bit of cat and mouse. I mean, Son's pressing Edison, but he's pressing on his own. Whereas when City are pressing, they're pressing as a team, and they want to win the ball back half the pitch, which they have done a couple of times. Unfortunately, not quite been able to capitalise on it. But it really is an intriguing game. I don't think Tottenham are going to change, and City certainly won't change. Obviously, City sort of bossing it possession-wise. Tottenham have had a couple of little spells, but you know, it's a game that I said to Mike when it went to 1-1, I don't think it'll finish 1-1. That's certainly not going to happen, and I don't think it'll finish 2-1. I certainly think there's more goals to come in the second half.
You were just saying you don't expect either side to change. One of the things again in the build-up that was being said is that, you know, and certainly one thing that people respect and admire about Ange Postecoglou is that he doesn't change regardless of injuries or what situation they're in. Is that what we've seen today, him playing the Ange way regardless of these injuries, and albeit up against current champions Manchester City? Absolutely,
yeah. Like you said, I don't think Tottenham are going to change for anybody. They're sort of taking the game to City, as I just said before. City having lion's share of possession, which they're doing pretty much every game they're playing, so there's no surprise there. But Tottenham look really dangerous on the break. You know, Brian Gill's had some good opportunities down this left-hand side. Brennan Johnson's got in down the right-hand side. There's been a couple of last-ditch challenges from Diaz and Rodri that spring to mind. Son, we all know about Son. He's a constant threat down the middle. So yeah, it's an intriguing game. You know, like I said, City have hit the post, hit the crossbar, so they've had quite a few chances. If they can come, the next goal in this is massive. If it goes to 3-1, you really don't see a way back for Tottenham. Obviously, if it goes to 2-2, it's game on.
Well, Bassett has said just that in the texts and tweets here. Bassett says, let's seal it with another goal. I mean, it may be free-flowing and you never know, but it does feel like it's a very long way back for Spurs. And another one here from Wakas who says, looks like this is going to be a long night for Spurs. And Santos who says, who can stop City? So very much in the favour of City at the minute. That extra goal could really do it mentally, if not, you know, just on the score sheet. It kind of disheartening, isn't it? Long way to come back from 2 goals down. Yeah,
listen, you don't expect, if City do go 3-1 up, you don't expect Tottenham to come back. But as we've seen in this first half, they can be dangerous on the counter-attack. But yeah, listen, City got into the rhythm sort of midway through the first half and had really good spells, and probably unlucky for it just to be 2-1. So I think Tottenham will be, although they're losing, they'll be relatively happy that it's only 2-1 because they're still massively in this game. There's no sort of urgency for Tottenham to go gung-ho, although at times you think they might be, you know, the way they bomb forward. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what changes either manager. I don't think there'll be any changes at half-time. It'll be interesting to see if Pep does anything in the second half. You know, it'd be nice to see John Stones get on the pitch. Obviously, Kovacic has been out a little bit as well, so it'd be nice to see him come back on. But yeah, I think obviously Pep will be the happier of the two, but Tottenham obviously well still in this game.
A couple of texts and tweets to finish with. Nicky, this one from Presh who says, this wizard always doing damages, boy is in form. Speaking about Phil Foden there, has he impressed you today?
Yeah, it's been terrific. He picks up, you know, he gets in some great positions, he gets in pockets. I just really enjoy talking about Bernardo Silva with Mike through the first half, how much I enjoy watching him play. But I think Phil Foden as well, obviously been a local lad. He had to bide his time to get in the team, but he plays pretty much week in, week out now. He really has come of age, and he's a great player, not just for City but for England as well. And he's just a joy to watch. It's his balance, the way he protects the ball, you know, the positions he takes up, he receives it on the half turn, and he's started to score quite a few more goals now. So yeah, he really is turning into the complete player.
And the last couple here, Danny says simple, yes. Obviously short on words, but the meaning, you know, pretty happy with it. And then Sherby says, how are Spurs not 5-1 down? So is there something to be said for, you know, in a game like this where you are ahead, you can come in at half time and be glad for the chances that you have converted. But, you know, in a tighter game, those really count, don't they? Is there something to be said for that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said before, City will be happy that they're winning. Obviously, going 1-0 behind, you'd have snapped your arm off to be 2-1 up at half time. But Tottenham will be also quite happy as well because they're still in the game and the game could have gone away from them. And like we spoke about before, the next goal's massive, and if City get it, you really feel it'll be a struggle for Tottenham to get back into it. But it's been a scintillating first half, and hopefully there's more to come in the second half. And like I said before, I certainly don't think it'll finish 2-1.
Well, exciting second half on the way. Thank you, Nicky Weaver, former Blues keeper, alongside Mike Minay there, part of your commentary team. Second half on the way. It's 2-1 to City against Spurs at the moment.
Anna Jameson at breakfast.
BBC Radio Manchester.
I am determined to find the best pie in Greater Manchester.
Well, I'm going to add a little bit of controversy, Anna. I'm very sorry, but it's actually a pasty. But I got a music taste of pasty, and the woman said, "Do you want a pasty barm?" We put it on a barm cake, and apparently they call it a Wigan kebab, and it was absolutely beautiful.
You sound emotional, John.
Life should be passionate, Anna. You know what I mean? Enjoy life.
You and Wigan kebabs. You need to get a room.
Anna Jameson at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Manchester. Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
2-1 at half-time to the Blues as they host Tottenham at the Etihad. Second half commentary on the way here on Total Sport. Elsewhere, it finished Chelsea 3, Brighton 2, Liverpool 4, Fulham 3, West Ham, Crystal Palace 1-1, and also shared the spoils between Bournemouth and Aston Villa, that one finishing 2-2. So second half on the way of City and Spurs. But earlier we had the FA Cup, of course, Aldershot and Stockport County. It finished 2-2. Stockport boss Dave Challoner spoke to Robin Gray after the game, and he says it means, of course, a replay in the FA Cup.
How do you assess that in the end? It was a crazy game, really.
Yeah, I suppose from a neutral's perspective, you look at it and it was an open game. There was real opportunities. I was disappointed with our first half performance in and out of possession. We go through things in terms of our meetings and recognising where threats are and what we have to deal with, and the start of the game was exactly what we thought it would be. In possession, we were too passive. Out of possession, we were nowhere near good enough, and we were fortunate to be level at the break because of a brilliant goal that Burner scores. Second half, although I'm disappointed that we've not won the game, I'm much happier with the performance in terms of we showed that when we take care, especially in the attacking half of the pitch, because the way things were in the first half, even when we got through, we turned the ball over so many times and they were being brave and leaving three up the top end of the pitch, and we were 3v3, so open to counter-attacks. That's why we caused ourselves problems. Second half we were much better and created opportunities. We should win the game with the chance to be created. That's not taking nothing away from Aldershot, because they played their part, and we'll think based on their first half performance they could have been more or further in front than they were.
Given the first half performance, then would you say in the end that it got to the stage where you're like, well, given how well they played as well, we'll take a replay?
No, because we still had three really big chances at the back end of the game, two from Sauce, one that hits the post. So not settled for a replay, but if you asked me before the game, would I much rather be in it, the competition, or out the competition? I was obviously going to say in the competition. So replay is probably not the ideal scenario for both teams, with I suppose objectives away from the FA Cup in terms of league programme, but regardless, both teams want to make sure they get through and have the opportunity to go to West Brom in the next round, and that certainly applies for us.
So in 10 days' time, Stockport will have that replay against Aldershot for the right to face West Brom. We had the draw earlier for the next round of the FA Cup. Some very, very tasty matchups. Newcastle and Sunderland in a North East derby. Liverpool and Arsenal in a clash of the Premier League titans. But in our neck of the woods with our local teams, Manchester City will host Huddersfield. Wigan will host Manchester United. What a cracker that'll be. Luton host Bolton. So plenty of our local teams still in action. It's 5:30, so we're just getting ready for the second half of your big match commentary here. Manchester City and Spurs in the Premier League.
Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without... Start your festivities with the BBC Philharmonic and us.
It's magical, isn't it, when you hear them play?
Be in the audience for our Christmas concert in Duckenfield on Friday, December 15th.
You're in for a real treat with some wonderful music, as well as stories highlighting the real spirit of Christmas.
Find out more, including the full terms and conditions, at bbc.co.uk/Philharmonic.
We're really in the Christmas spirit.
Wearing your Christmas jumper is optional.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Second half commentary on the way in the Premier League of Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. The Blues ahead 2-1 at the moment. Scores elsewhere in the Premier League today finished: Chelsea 3, Brighton 2, Liverpool 4, Fulham 3. That's one to catch up on. Plenty of goals today in the Premier League. It finished West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1, Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 2. And we've already had 3 goals in the first half of the game between City and Tottenham. So match of the day is one not to be missed tonight, as plenty of goals to feast your eyes on. Of course, we'd love to hear from you at the end of the game. 0800 218 2255 is the number to call. So get in touch. We can put your thoughts, questions and comments to our commentary team of former Blues keeper Nicky Weaver. He's alongside Mike Minay. If you prefer to text us, it's 81333. Start your message with the word Mank. Of course, we're on Twitter or X at BBC RM Sport, and you can also WhatsApp us on 08000 321 333. Also start your message with the word Mank. We're here with you on Total Sport today through till 7pm, so get your thoughts and tweets and calls into us, and we can put your questions and comments to Mike and Nicky. Plenty that we had earlier, of course, plenty on the way in the FA Cup over the next few weeks, particularly for our local sides. As you heard earlier in your first commentary today on Total Sport, Stockport didn't quite get the job done against Aldershot in a riveting game. That one finished 2-2. Your commentary team of Robin Gray and former Bolton player and assistant manager Phil Brown brought you that one. It was close and County could have got the job done, but as you heard from Dave Challoner earlier, not what they wanted. Ideally didn't want a replay, but that will happen in 10 days time, and if they get through that, they will face West Brom. Wigan were at York City on Friday as they went through to the next round of the FA Cup, and manager Sean Maloney spoke to us after the game.
I think the first 15-20 minutes it was York were good. The game was a bit 50-50. There wasn't that much control in the game. I think after that I started to like the game. The biggest thing was to get through the next round. So really looking forward to that draw.
Anyone you want in particular?
No, I think I got asked on TV, and I loved the 18 games we had in the Championship last year. When I came in, I'd love an opponent in a higher league again, but let's wait and see.
Oh no, mistress from York, and here's Humphreys' through on goal. Stephen Humphreys, the ball, Wigan in front, round Stockdale it goes. Yes. Humphreys can't miss, he scores again.
Yeah, he did. It was a brilliant finish. We had chances. I know York had chances towards the end as well, but Stephen's in brilliant form. He's got so much talent, 1v1 speed. Hopefully he's found a home here. It's a lot. It means a lot. I know from the summer the finance side of things, what it means to clubs. But the kudos for the fans, I think, is probably what stimulates or motivates the players and myself. So it means a lot. I said at the start of the season we'd try our best. I think my team selection tonight told you how I thought the opponents were. I knew it would be a hard game, and really, really happy to be in the draw.
And in the draw earlier today, Wigan will host Manchester United. Let's go now for the second half of your Premier League commentary between Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. From the Etihad, your commentary team of former Blues keeper Nicky Weaver and Mike Minay.
Well, Bernardo Silva has just fired a brilliant shot from the edge of the D. Brilliant save from Vicario, actually. Left foot outside of his boot, destined for the top right-hand corner. Vicario saves it well and sends it behind for a corner. And Manchester City still lead 2-1, very nearly 3 within the first minute of the restart, start the second half. Spurs have made a substitution as well. Brian Gill's off, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is on. Right-footed out swinging corner from Alvarez. Rodri's header is going to be saved by a diving Vicario away from his left-hand post.
Yeah, great start to the second half for City. Spurs again causing themselves problems. Vicario give it straight to Bernardo Silva. He ended up hitting a great shot, and Vicario sort of redeems himself, stretching that left hand out and just clawing it round for a corner. But a great save of the match so far.
Absolutely. Brilliant save from the Italian. Vicario, signed in the summer from Empoli. As Emerson Royal turns it back to Vicario. Alvarez with the press. You think Spurs would have learned, if they didn't learn in the first half, learn at half time. Let's not be so risky. And yet they are still trying to play out from the back. I know it's Ange Postecoglou's way of playing, and all teams like to do it these days, but it is a risk, and Spurs are half the time gifting City with another opportunity.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to change the way they play. Obviously, they talk about Ange ball, and that's exactly what it is. It's high-risk stuff, and they're trying to beat the press. And if they can beat the press, then they can get at City. But if you look at the pitch now, it's 3-on-3 at the back. So yeah, if they can beat the press, they're out. But it is high-risk stuff, that is for sure.
Celso, Højbjerg's giving it away himself. He almost passed it to Haaland. Here's Foden trying to chip it on through for Alvarez. Doesn't quite come off, and the ball bounces into the path of Emerson Royal. Son comes from deep to get the ball on his chest, but then Basuma gives it away. Referee says play on as Haaland goes down, rolls on the turf. And eventually the referee has stopped play. Free kick, Manchester City.
Yeah, I think the ref was just trying to see if it was definite foul on Haaland. I think the ref was just trying to see if there was an advantage, and obviously there wasn't. So yeah, it's been a promising start for City in this opening couple of minutes. Again, Tottenham, it's so high risk what they do at the back, but it's the way they play, it's what the manager wants in them. But I think there's a time, excuse me, particularly straight after the second half begins, I think there might be a time just to go forward a little bit sooner.
I guess if it works and you beat the press, you're through and you've got gaps to run in behind.
That's the sort of trade-off, isn't it? And that's what all the top teams do now, and that's what high-level football's about now. It's high-risk stuff.
But if it doesn't work, you gift opportunities to the likes of Manchester City, as we've seen plenty of times in this game. Free kick then midway inside the Spurs half is central. Alvarez sends that in. Diaz with the header. It's going to be away further by Basuma though on the second ball. Bernardo Silva nicks in though and will peel away off towards the left hand side. Goes early with the cross that floats nowhere near Haaland as intended, and too close to Vicario, who gathers and just bowls it underarm to this near side of his penalty area. I'll run you through the two teams when we get an opportunity to do so, but Manchester City are now right to left in the second half in their sky blue shirts. Tottenham in their musty brown, grey brown outfit are left to right, attacking the end, which houses their supporters. A chip ball over the top finds Son, knocks it out to the right hand side for Kulusevski. Laid back, here's Johnson. Kulusevski again, and Tottenham's going to build a little bit of pressure here on the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. 4 second half minutes gone. City 2, Tottenham 1. Here's Lo Celso. Højbjerg plays a 1-2 with Lo Celso, and Højbjerg has to turn back towards the halfway line. Tottenham, the third team in English top flight history to go unbeaten in their first 10, and then lose consequently the next 3 games as Haaland is hacked down by Højbjerg, and he's only been on the pitch a matter of minutes. And is he going to go into the referee's book, or is he just going to get a stern talking to? It is just going to be a talking to. Wrexham have gone 3-0 up on Yeovil, by the way. That's in the FA Cup. Earlier today we heard that Stockport and Aldershot drawing 2-2. Winning of that one on the replay faces West Brom in the next round. Jack Grealish is going to come on here for Manchester City just 5 second half minutes before Pep Guardiola's decided to change things up.
Almost makes you wonder if someone's carried a knock, because it seems strange to do it so quickly after half time. But yeah, it's definitely stripped and he's definitely coming on.
Changed it quick on Tuesday night against Leipzig. I think that was 8 second half minutes. Brought Doku and Alvarez on, and City scored within about 5 seconds of the restart after the substitutions 5 days ago. Here is Doku from that free kick, receiving the ball on the left hand side. Alvarez, City leading by 2-1. Out towards the right, it's now worked via Kyle Walker out to Phil Foden, who's got the difference-making goal in this game. The other two coming from Son, one at both ends. Foden again on the right-hand side. Gets into the penalty area, has a look for Bernardo Silva, sends it up. And it comes off the head of a Spurs player and is knocked into the hands of Vicario. Who's down here, is it Emerson Royal, who's holding the back of his head. He's up. Referee had stopped the play since though, so play will restart in the hands of the Spurs goalkeeper Vicario, I imagine. City leading 2-1.
Yeah, so we're just going to wait to see who Jack Grealish is coming on for. Doku seems to be drifting over here, so is he holding his knee a little bit as well, Doku?
Does look like it, doesn't it? Yeah, his right knee just keeps flicking it out, trying to almost rub it off, but
it's Doku coming off. He's had loads of great situations. I just felt he could have been a positive a few more times than he was, but they were doubling up on him. Porro's handled him well. He must have had a little niggle in the first half. They've given him 5 minutes to see if he can run it off. He can't. But listen, you're not really weakening your side by putting Jack Grealish on. So, like I say, came on in the week and the game changed. So hopefully he can add to City's attacking prowess in this game.
Only 1 assist so far this season for Jack Grealish, yet to score in the Premier League this campaign. Had a really influential second season at Manchester City last year. Wants to get going this season because Jeremy Doku is certainly impressing as Foden goes for a run, tripped up, right hand side, free kick to Manchester City. Oh no, referee didn't blow. I thought the referee had blown. Play continues. And Foden goes down but no foul.
Looked worse than what it was, didn't it? A couple of players around Foden. I think he jumped out of the way of a challenge, so I don't actually think there was any contact.
Nathan Ake, Rico Lewis and Mateo Kovacic doing their warm-ups, watching on this near side touchline as Jack Grealish intercepts the ball goes out and play for a throw-in, but much deeper in Spurs' half than where they were intending to get to.
I'll almost be gobsmacked if City don't score from Tottenham messing about at the back here. I mean, I know it's the way they play, and on occasion they do get out, but in this second half there's 3 or 4 times where they don't get out. So it wouldn't surprise me if City capitalised on that.
Doggy on the left-hand side uses the support network out there, and there's a little run at the defence going on here for Tottenham as they fire in the low shot. Saved by Edison at his near post. A comfortable save, I would imagine.
Yeah, straight down his throat, took a little bounce in front of him. Good play from Brennan Johnson, a player I really like. I think he's a great signing, obviously from Nottingham Forest. I remember playing against his dad. His dad scored a couple past me. So a good shot, cut it off the left-hand side onto his right foot, and powerful shot, but straight down Edison's throat.
Just the 1 goal this season for Brennan Johnson. That came in the defeat to Wolves, which started this run of 3 defeats for Spurs' summer signing of £47.5 million from Nottingham Forest. Throw-in, going back to Edison's penalty area that Son tried to pounce on. It was a bit risky, that one from City. Both sides playing a very risky game. Haaland with his back to goal inside his own half, just holds it up, and then it's flicked out towards this near side for Vardiol, who just half volleys it lovely along the floor for Jack Grealish to have a run into the penalty area. Well, bend it back post for Haaland's header. He tried to stretch every sinew in those neck muscles, but couldn't quite guide it on target. City have since won a corner.
Yeah, Rodri played it out to Guardiola, and it made it look so easy. He's chested it up, hit a ball on the half volley, perfect for Grealish.
As the corner comes in, Spurs headed away and clearing out of the penalty area. Jack Grealish off. Well, that's a bit naughty from Kulusevski. Hands all over the back of Jack Grealish and hauls him down onto the floor. There was no danger there from what Jack Grealish was doing.
Yeah, he's running towards the touchline. The ball's going to drift out. And Kulusevski, sort of, it's something you'd see in the WWF. No football. Right? Sort of got him around the neck and dragged him to the floor.
Certainly is. No card from Simon Hooper, who's just given 1 to each side for now. Rodri and Udogie, the 2 players. But Bernardo Silva and Julian Alvarez over this free kick then on the left-hand side. Players gather in a line on the edge of the penalty area on the 18-yard line. What have Manchester City got here in their locker? Alvarez seems to be the set-piece specialist for now. Bernardo Silva hangs in close location to the ball. Alvarez runs over the ball, so it's the left foot of Bernardo Silva in, meets a Spurs head, and Grealish is giving that away there to Kulusevski, who can get to the halfway line. Will try and push it into the path of Son, runs across Grealish and to the Korean as well, who can try and turn to face the goal. Here's Johnson from distance. His shot hits the feet of Rodri and is an easy one for Edison to catch.
Yeah, sloppy from Grealish, gave the ball away. To be fair, we retract back, as all the City players did, and that's what they do. Son played it into Brennan Johnson.
Rodri's gone over the top for Phil Foden, who's all on his own here, pushes it into the penalty area. Goes down under the challenge, but I think that was all very 50-50. And Tottenham through Udogie, knock it back to Vicario, and they're back up to the halfway line already.
Yeah, decent defending from Udogie. It's sort of borderline of foul, but not quite enough to convince the referee. So yeah, well defended him. Foden just didn't quite have the legs to get away from him. As you can hear the sort of atmosphere ample now. I think with the consensus that City are on top here, and I think that everyone understands that the 3rd goal will almost kill the game off.
As the floodlights shine down on the turf of the Etihad Stadium, the rain has stopped for now. Fell for most of the first half. Here's Basuma, halfway line, just leaves the centre circle on the right hand side of it. Linesman waited and waited and knew that Kulusevski was offside immediately. I mentioned Spurs being the 3rd team in English top flight history to be unbeaten in their first 10 and then lose their next 3. Huddersfield and Sheffield United were the other 2 teams. Huddersfield won their 14th fixture and went on to win the league. Sheffield United in 1971 lost number fixture 14 to Manchester City and finished up 10th. And I'm sure Spurs will not want the same statistic to fall in there. I think they'd rather the one that fell in Huddersfield's favour, but they're going to have to come from behind now to lead if they want that. 12 minutes gone in the second half. City leading by 2-1, and there's a situation for the referee to sort out here.
Richarlison warming up there, Mark. It'll be interesting to see at what point they decide to put him on, because I'm sure we're going to see him at some point. It's amazing to think that, you know, Brazil's number 9 doesn't get in the Tottenham team.
His goal scoring record's not great. He's had a little bit of a layoff as well, some time to sort his head out. And cleared away by Manchester City. Grealish on the left-hand side. Here's Vardiol, halfway line to Rodri. He'll just turn towards the centre circle from this near side, and use Manuel Akanji, who gives it back to the Spanish midfield. And now Alvarez into the Akanji, who first time sends it out to this near side for Jack Grealish. Bending right-footed effort out towards Bernardo Silva on the far side of the field. He'll attack the penalty area, cuts in on his left foot, but ran into traffic, and Tottenham are able to clear it away. Here's Brennan Johnson, who moves back down the touchline to use Destiny and Doggy. Johnson, Davis, and it's up towards the halfway line for Giovanni Lo Celso. Here's Porro playing infield for Spurs. Started at right back. Johnson sees it to Son on the edge of the penalty area. Still got a lot of work to do here. Son Heung-min into the box. So Doggy had joined the attack actually, but it takes a nick, runs on through to Edison, who can clear it up towards the halfway line. Davis brings it down. Here's Emerson Royale to the right-hand side now. The near for Spurs. We've played 13 second half minutes. Fully aware we've not had a chance to run you through the two teams yet. Here's Højbjerg on as a substitute at half-time. Replacing... who did he replace? He replaced Brian Gill. Of course he did. Here's Højbjerg. Emerson Royale across the centre circle. City leading 2-1. Here's Ben Davis. Drop of the shoulder from Johnson on the turn, and Walker takes him out. Free kick. So Manchester City have Edison in goal. Walker, Akanji, Diaz and Vardiol as their backline. Bernardo and Rodri holding the midfield, with Foden, Alvarez and Grealish sitting just behind Erling Haaland up front. Where Tottenham are concerned, Vicario is their goalkeeper. Porro, Emerson Royale, Davis and Udogi, their back four. Bissouma and Lo Celso in the midfield, with Johnson, Kulusevski and Højbjerg assisting Son up front. 2-1 to Manchester City as we hit the hour mark on BBC Radio Manchester's Total Sport. Ruben Diaz has the free kick midway inside Manchester City's half, central position as well. Alvarez turns it out towards the near side left for Jack Grealish, who weaves his way past a couple of players, but then on the recovery was Højbjerg, and it's back to Vicario inside his own penalty area. Spurs play out from the back again.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're sort of messing about with it again, and very lucky handball from Grealish.
He appeals. He doesn't believe that was the case.
Pierre-Emile Højbjerg's come on at half-time and has had I think he's been booked. Jack Grealish has just been booked as well.
Complaining, I think. Complaining too much, yeah. Dissent towards the referee. And the second Manchester City player in the book then this afternoon is Jack Grealish. The phone lines are open, by the way, if you want to have your say after the game. We're taking your calls. Nicky Weaver here till 7 o'clock tonight on 0800 218 2255. Here's Emerson Royale. And then tomorrow, the latest episode of We're Not Really Here, our Manchester City podcast, will be up and out. Nicky Weaver will be recording that with myself and Natalie Pike after the game today. So keep your eye on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts from. Like and subscribe and leave a comment if you want. And Spurs play inside their own 6-yard box between Royale and Vicario.
Guardiola's been impressive today. Knows about his business. He's been a great signing. He's sort of slipped in relatively unnoticed. Quite an unspectacular player, but does his job really well. Someone I've been really impressed with in the first sort of third of the season.
Yeah, certainly going into life at Manchester City. He was saying actually ahead of the Leipzig game he wants to get through to January, and then with the winter break, the 1 week winter break that the teams get, he will have a little bit of time to kind of get to know Pep Guardiola a little bit more. Such is the short turnaround between games that he doesn't feel he's had the right chance to fit in with the system. is enjoying the left-back role, though. Son on the turn. Porro can't return it to Son, who'd made the run. Down the middle. Manchester City leading this one 2-1. That's a ball over the top, which Udogie will taste, and Son's free in the middle if he can find him. Edison reacted quickly. I think now the offside flag goes up. Had to let play go on because it was tight at the time, and VAR could, of course, review it. But a worrying moment there for Manchester City. Yeah, I think the right call was made.
Yeah, he's a yard offside, but great ball from Brennan Johnson. You know, it was 2 against Edison. Edison's done fantastically well, and we all expected the flag to go up, to be fair, which it did, and it was the right decision.
Dougie couldn't find Son anyway. And as Nicky Weaver said, the former Manchester City goalkeeper praising the current one, and Edison for his quick reactions as Walker takes it on the chest, far side touchline. City's right, Foden helps him out. Now Bernardo Silva as the ball is turned in field. Here's Haaland, will want to push it back through for Bernardo Silva, which he's done. Bernardo's up here all on his own. He'll either have to hold it up or go for the spectacular. Holds it up is the option he chooses, and plays a 1-2 with Phil Foden on the far side of the field. Manchester City's right. Sergio Gomez and Oscar Bob have finished their warm-ups. Richarlison still going through his for Tottenham in front of us on this near side touchline. Grealish, Vardiol back into his own half, but then fancied going for an attacking move instead. Grealish tries to squeeze it in between Pedro Porro and Dejan Kulusevski. Comes off one of those, and it's a Manchester City throw-in on this near side. Earlier today in the Premier League, Bournemouth and Aston Villa drew at 2-2. Late Bournemouth equaliser in that game. Manchester City go to Villa on Wednesday night. We'll have that live for you on BBC Radio Manchester with updates of Manchester United against Chelsea, a Chelsea side that won 3-2 against Brighton earlier today. Liverpool scored 2 late goals to beat Fulham by 4 goals to 3. It finished West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1. Here is Alvarez. To the right of the D, lays it back to the midway point of the Spurs half of Vardiol, who's done so much right today, Nicky Weaver, as you were praising him, then does everything wrong and sends the ball out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's just tried to clip one towards the back post, and it just went out of play, but the applause you can hear there for John Stones. He's just come out to warm up.
Calvin Phillips too.
Yeah, he's applauding the fans, but I think it's more for John Stones than Calvin Phillips, to be fair. So yeah, it'd be nice to see John Stones get on the pitch, and I'm sure he will do at some point during the game.
Hasn't played since the Champions League win over Young Boys in November, and Spurs again in their penalty. There are 4 Manchester City players there. The obvious option would be Vigario just to blast it long, but they have got away with that one. Spurs and out towards the far side. Manchester City have a throw in.
They work on a lot in training. They'll have defence v attack, and they'll have the patterns how they want to play out certain players in certain positions. But yeah, it really is high risk stuff, and they've just about got away with it so far.
Would you ever tried it with the likes of Richard Dunn, Steve Howie, and...
Well, I saw Dion Dublin in the press room earlier, and that gave me nightmares. I once tried it, and so one of his goals that he got, he owes me for that one. And every time I turn the telly on, I see him on there, so it always gives me a reminder.
Can't escape the nightmare of Dion Dublin, who sits just along from us here, the former Manchester United striker. Vardiol wants a foul on Jack Grealish, a little push in the back, so free kick to Manchester City, who will take on Huddersfield in the FA Cup 3rd round. Draw was made earlier today. Stockport or Aldershot will take on West Brom at the Hawthorns. Bolton will go to Premier League side Luton, but the standout tie locally is Wigan against Manchester United. Edison away from his own penalty area, out to the right hand side. The rain has started to fall again. Foden in field. Haaland drops deep to offer assistance, pushes on through for Bernardo Silva. Rodri was square to him. Bernardo was trying to go alone by the looks of that. Here's Lo Celso. Son back to goal, turns out towards the far side in Spurs left. Manchester City 2, Tottenham 1. 20 minutes gone in this second half. Here's Emerson Royal joining the attack out towards the right hand side. Kulusevski in between box and touchline, can take that to the byline, twisting against Vardiol, plays it off. Vardiol doesn't win the corner, comes back to Dejan Kulusevski again. He's Basuma. Emerson Royal on the right hand side. Kulusevski tries to squeeze it through onto the corner of the penalty area. Royal slides in. City try and clear it. That will be a corner to Spurs. Must have taken a deflection there, so Tottenham have a corner near side the right.
Yeah, they've not been too much near City's goal this second half. Tottenham, they had one shot from Brennan Johnson, but they've got a corner here. Can they capitalise on it?
Tottenham fans start to find their voice away to our right-hand side. They get a block on each tier of the south stand. There are 3 tiers of that as well. So corner near side to Tottenham, which Lo Celso sends into the penalty area, and a very easy, unthreatened catch for Edison.
Yeah, good take. It's not a bad ball in, but no one seemed to sort of track the flight of the ball, but Edison did, and it was a nice pair of safe hands from him.
So he sends it away from his penalty area. The throw, underarm. Foden from the far side has chipped that into the penalty area, and Bissouma can win that back. He though turns into his own half. Alvarez and Bernardo Silva all over the back of him. Tottenham with miserable away records against the reigning Premier League champions, whoever that might be. Only ever won 4 of 31 across the Premier League. Well, having said that, all 4 have come in the last 10 seasons, as again from inside their own penalty area, almost with an air of arrogance about them, Tottenham play it away, back with their goalkeeper Vicario once again, clad it all in yellow this evening, the Tottenham goalkeeper. Down the near side, so the far side they go, and drop of the shoulder won't come off on that occasion for Destiny Udogie. Edison away from his box, uses Rodri down the middle. There will be more goals, Nicky Weaver said at half-time. Maybe it comes now, actually. Will Lo Celso, edge of the D, needs to find space to shoot, which he does, and buries it. And Tottenham are level again in this game. Giovanni Lo Celso on the edge of the penalty area, squeezes it into the left-hand post, past a diving Edison. And it's Manchester City 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Yeah, we spoke at half-time about how important the next goal is. I think most people thought it was going to go to City. They've had a good start to the second half, so against the run of play, it's gone to Tottenham. It's a great finish from Lo Celso. He gets the ball, picks it up sort of 25 yards out, gets it onto that left foot of his. He's got too much time. The defenders think it's Diaz. He's got to try and get closer to him, and it's a great finish. He gets it on his left foot, bends it round Edison, and it's gone in off the post. But yeah, it's a fantastic finish.
I was just about to ask you, with the score at 2-1, the atmosphere feeling a little bit quiet, whether you actually saw any more goals in this game anymore, Nicky Weaver, but we got the answer.
We have, and I think Edison, gets a little touch on that and tips it onto the post. So, again, not putting any criticism on him at all, because it's a great finish, but as a goalkeeper, when you do get a touch on it, you always feel like you could save it out, keep it out the goal. But yeah, the atmosphere is really ramped up here now. The City fans want to get behind City fans. The Tottenham fans are going balmy over there in the corner. So it's game on now at 2-2.
This is game 169 in all competitions between these pair. In the previous 168, City have won 68, Spurs have won 68, and there's been 36 draws. Does one side get the advantage with 20 minutes to go on Total Sport here on BBC Radio Manchester? It might be Spurs, because Kulusevski on the right has put Højbjerg in on the byline, tries to send it in near post, claims of handball, it's gone behind. Rodri couldn't keep it in play. Tottenham have a corner. City need to find something here, Nicky Weaver.
Yeah, the game's been flipped on its head, and what City have got to do, they've got to try and take the sting out of the game, and then get back into the rhythm. There's still 20 minutes left. They've got players waiting to come on if they need them. So yeah, the game just seems to have gone a little bit bung-o and a little bit frantic, and obviously that's in Tottenham's favour, because the last few minutes has all been in the Man City penalty area.
Pedro Porro in the corner on the right-hand side, puffs out his chest, in it goes near post, flicked on to where? To Lo Celso, who threads it in. Oh, goodness me! From the left corner of the penalty area, the angles were impossible. There were so many players in the way, but on the half volley, catches it sweetly left-footed. I think it hits the right boot of Jack Grealish into the side netting, and Spurs have another corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great strike from Lo Celso. Just clipped like Jack Grealish's foot and just goes wide, but from our angle it looked like it had gone in.
Lo Celso out of favour at Spurs in the last couple of seasons. Spent the last 18 months on loan at Villarreal in Spain, but he's back under Ange Postecoglou and working. In goes the corner again. Haaland with the header away. Foden tries to win the second ball. It drops on the edge of the box for the volley. This time that is clattered into a crowd of players. Højbjerg, I think it was. Might have been Brennan Johnson. And Manchester City have a goal kick. They're going to bring on Rico Lewis here.
Yeah, they just need to do something to sting out of the game. I mean, the Tottenham players and fans, they can sense blood. They see this as a real opportunity to try and get another goal. And yet, City are setting up to go short, but I think they're going to go long here. Just need to relieve a little bit of pressure and settle the game down again.
Rico Lewis prepares to come on. The rain continues to fall. It is a cold December day at the Etihad Stadium. The conditions are miserable. You just feel with that Spurs goal, though, things might start to heat up. Manchester City 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2, 18 minutes left. Haaland goes, uses his shoulders a little bit too much here. Arm raised on Emerson Royale. Free kick Tottenham.
Just feel at the minute, though, Mike, this season they're just, as good as City's been in patches, they're not clinical. Obviously, we spoke about clean sheets, been obviously not going to get one today, but it's almost like they're quite leaky at the back, and they almost fancy themselves to score more than the opposition, which 9 times out of 10 they do, but they just don't seem as clinical in front of goal as they have done the last few seasons.
Phil Foden, who put Manchester City 2-1 up in this game, is off. Rico Lewis comes on, and I think he's telling Bernardo Silva to go out to the right-hand side now, with Foden previously being out there. And Lewis will go down the middle and immediately sets on the charge to try and intercept the ball. Here's Rodri. Didn't really know what to do with that ball. Flicks it over to the right-hand side. Udogie is back to give the ball to his goalkeeper, Vicario, under pressure from Erling Haaland. I'm sure Vicario is just praying for a nice, easy final 20 minutes, but his teammates aren't helping with that. 17 minutes left.
He has handled the ball really well, though, hasn't he? Well, handled the ball with his feet, so to speak. But yeah, he has dealt with the ball really well, should I say. He certainly doesn't look flustered.
Rodri kicks it over his own head and high into the night sky. Well, the rain is falling. Can't be many players who will look skywards at that moment to get a load of rain in their eye. Edison has the ball as it runs to him on the edge of his own penalty area. Manuel Akanji drops into a pocket of space to assist. Now out towards this near side. Grealish challenged from behind by Porro, ex-Manchester City youngster. Holds his hamstring, Jack Grealish, as he goes down there. Yellow card to Pedro Porro as well for that rash challenge. Struggling to think, though, Bernardo Silva within seconds of the restart. What have City done since?
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, Vicario made a great save. City, they haven't really got into the rhythm, have they? And it's all credit to Tottenham, because Tottenham they've pressed well, they've kept the ball well, and they've moved it from back to front pretty quickly, and they've had some good situations, and they deserve, to be at 2-2. So it's going to be a really interesting sort of last 15 minutes now. Listen, if you was a betting man, you'd still put your money on City, because they generally always find a way, but Tottenham are going to take some stopping because they've looked really, really threatening.
Dramatic games are following Manchester City round at the minute. Chelsea 4-4, Liverpool 1-1.
It's a great game for the neutral, isn't it? 2-2 with sort of 15 minutes to go.
2-2 here, and of course the 3-2 comeback in midweek against Leipzig. City aren't doing boring at the minute. Rico Lewis has somehow come out with the ball on the far side touchline. Rodri takes over. Lewis in support on the right-hand side. Pulls it back, Rodri! Over the bar. Well, the ball was going behind him. I just wonder, could he have left it for Haaland, who was a couple of yards further on? As the ball came in low from Lewis on the right-hand side, it's behind the near post from where Rodri was shooting. And it remains 2-2, but that's a bright moment for City, just when we were saying they were lacking in bright moments.
Yeah, great play from Rodri. Move forward with the ball, slip Rico Lewis in a really dangerous position. He cuts it back, and it was just behind Rodri, and he sort of struggled to get a good connection on it, and it's just gone over.
Alvarez helps to win the ball back with Jack Grealish on the near side left for Manchester City. 2-2 the score, quarter of an hour to go. As Højbjerg sees it back to Vicario, just away from his 6-yard box, far side of the penalty area. He sends it long for once. And City win the ball back just outside the centre circle with Ruben Diaz. Here's Kyle Walker. Bernardo Silva on the touchline. Drags the ball down closer towards the Tottenham penalty area. Uses Rico Lewis on the pullback. Infield the ball goes. Manuel Akanji on the ball for Manchester City, who were behind early on, got 2-1 in front, and Lo Celso has squeezed the ball in to make it 2-2. Here's Grealish. Vardiol just runs past Kulusevski in from the left-hand side. Rodri. Akanji out to the right. Bernardo Silva takes it on his chest, pushes it closer to the byline. Bernardo Silva then flicks back on his left boot, looks for Akanji, hits Udogie, and out for a throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, at least the play's been a little bit more around the Tottenham goal this last 3 or 4 minutes. The game seems to have settled down a bit now after a frantic sort of 4 or 5 minutes in and around the Tottenham second goal. City have sort of taken control possession-wise. Let's hope they can make it count.
Rodri squeezes it on through for Bernardo Silva, there's a Spurs player down on the halfway line. For now, though, Manchester City will continue. Rodri's got 4 players around him. And the referee wants to play on. Had a look back at the Spurs player down holding his leg. Isn't going to blow his whistle as Vardiol, left corner of the penalty area. Diaz. City player, Spurs are appealing that City are to kick the ball out, but they don't have to. And that player's back up as well on the far side. Here's Bernardo Silva, lovely control in the box, will try and fire it across goal. Behind it goes for a corner. And whoever that Tottenham player is, he's down again in the box after taking that knock. Tried to get back to help his defenders. And it's Hojbjerg who's suffering.
Yeah, see all the Tottenham players appealing to the referee to stop the City players to kick it out, but it's up to the referee to stop it.
Short corner. Bernardo Silva and Alvarez combine. Here's Rico Lewis, stabs it in with his right boot over the head of Akanji. Vardiol. Well under it. And a true centre-back finish there, sending it high over the bar. 2-2 still.
Yeah, that finish was a little bit like Alisson's kick out a couple of weeks ago. A big slicer.
Tottenham substitution is going to see their equalising goal scorer Giovanni Lo Celso be replaced. Oliver Skipp is going to come on yet again as a substitute. He's only started in 1 of his previous 7 appearances this season for Tottenham, and that was on the opening weekend as Lo Celso slowly makes his way off the Argentine.
I think that perhaps shows you Tottenham's intentions a little bit like the Rico Lewis substitution as well. He obviously probably want to try and get a little bit more control in that middle third of the pitch.
2-2 then, with 12 minutes to go in this game on Total Sport. BBC Radio Manchester. Alvarez just giving a little few nudges to Emerson Royal. Tottenham win the throw-in as Emerson Royal was just trying to shield the ball out of play. Rodri wins it back off Bissouma in the middle of the park to Grealish. Oh, he's gone down. Late challenge from Hojbjerg, who is on a booking, and the referee isn't going to book him again. Free kick to Manchester City.
He's had an eventful half. He only come on at half time. He's been involved in, he's been down injured, he's been booked, nearly got another booking. He's had an eventful half as Hojbjerg, but yeah, quite central this, so it's difficult to get an angle on it, but it's Bernardo Silva and Alvarez over the ball, so Tottenham got a really high defensive line. The ball's probably 40 yards out from goal, and they're probably 25 yards out from goal, so they've got a really high defensive line here.
They're not even on the edge of their own D, are they? As Bernardo Silva, left-footed, sends it in, looking for the header back across the penalty area. That doesn't come from Akanji because Spurs won the first ball. Akanji out on the far side touchline, brings it back down the line for Lewis. Here's Bernardo, 1-2 with Rico Lewis, trying to squeeze it through, a few bobbles and bounces, and a heavy challenge on one of the Spurs players at the back. Ben Davis, I think, means it's a free kick to Tottenham.
Just sense a bit of frustration, can't you? I think all City fans know that, well, everyone in the stadium knows that perhaps should have been more than 2-1 at half time, and it always allows Tottenham that chance. We spoke about how important the second goal were, and you know, with sort of 10 minutes left, you know, it's 2-2 and it's all to play for.
Haaland with 2 glorious chances. Foden's hit the post, Alvarez has hit the post rather, as has Jeremy Doku, all coming in the first half. That's a risky touch by Bissouma on his chest, almost a bit laissez-faire as Rodri wins it back. 5 forward for City, one of them's Haaland on the pull back. Grealish! What a time to get your first goal of the season! The substitute scores and City are back in front. Spurs caught napping, Haaland pounced, and on a plate for Grealish. Manchester City 3, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Yeah, it's great play from Rodri initially, winning the ball back, slots it through to Haaland. He had a quick look up, there wasn't a lot on, and he's put a great ball in between the goalkeeper and defenders, and Jack Grealish is there to sweep it into the back stick. And you could just, I was just saying, Mike, you could just sense before that there's a bit of frustration in the stadium, and that's all suddenly been relieved now. But it's fantastic play from Rodri, wins the ball back, plays Haaland in. It's a great run from, it's a little bit of a cutback actually, and it's a good little finish from Grealish to make it 3-2.
Haaland in on the right of the penalty area. Grealish down the middle. Side foot shot that goes past Vicario. And Manchester City are in front again and can keep tabs with Arsenal at the top. It puts them into second above Liverpool as it stands. Manchester City 3, Tottenham Hotspur 2. What another great game. And City haven't been at their best second half. They've been a little bit quiet. But after Tottenham's equaliser, they started to get back on top. Grealish sliding on his knees right at the camera. His first goal of the season, and it'll mean so much if Manchester City can hold on here. They lead by 3-2, and there's 8 minutes left.
Yeah, it's a great time to get your first goal of the season. And you can hear the atmosphere now at the Etihad. It's really revved up. And let's hope City can sort of see these last 10 or so minutes out.
City fans on their feet, and actually very kindly singing the name of our podcast, We're Not Really Here. Ball back with Edison inside this penalty area, sends it out towards this near side in the driving rain of East Manchester at the start of December. Here is Vardiol, challenged on the near side by Skip, and Kulusevski's away now on the right hand side. Grealish trying to recover some ground, holds him up brilliantly. From attack to defence there for Jack Grealish. What he did a few moments ago was score. He stopped Kulusevski going any further down the right hand side, and City still lead by 3-2. Oh, Vardiol late on Skip there, and yeah, hacked him down, caught him late. Skip went flying. That's a yellow card to the Croatian left back.
Yeah, quite reckless. That's probably a good job he didn't make more of a contact with the player, because studs were showing, and it was quite high. Yeah, it's quite a nasty one, that. So I think it looks like Skip sort of kicked his studs. Perhaps looked a little bit worse than what it was, to be fair.
Slow-mo never helps, does it? But free kick to Tottenham on the right-hand side, which Pedro Porro is going to take. Signed in the summer for £40 million from Sporting Lisbon, where he was sent after being at Manchester City in the academy. On loan last year at Spurs, and then the signing made permanent in the summer. 6.5 minutes to go. City lead 3-2. Spurs with a free kick on the right-hand side, 5 yards in from the touchline. Whips in back post over everybody, but hasn't got out of play yet. Asking a lot of Højbjerg to keep it in far side. He can't. Throw into Manchester City. That's a waste from Spurs.
Yeah, I think Nathan Ake is a waste from Spurs. You're right there, Mike. Good position of a waste. Looks like Nathan Ake's been told to get warmed up, which he's doing now. So maybe they'll put him on just to try and see the game out.
I wonder how much of that is help to see the game out, or a little warning to Vardiol, but I wasn't happy with that challenge. Be careful, otherwise Nathan Ake is going to come on for you before you have chance to be sent off. Here is Vardiol. Ball just runs to him on the left corner of the penalty area. Kulusevski. A little bit of frustration in there maybe from the Swedish attacker of Tottenham. Another one who signed permanently in the summer after a loan spell at Tottenham. 18 months he previously spent on loan at Spurs. £25 million signing. And
looks like Nathan Ake is definitely coming on. I think they're doing a double actually. Is that Kovacic as well? I'm not sure.
Yeah, getting ready to come on. Yeah, Ake stripped off, ready to come on. Long ball over the top from City's. Haaland will try and bring it down on the left corner of the penalty area. Back heel, so calm. From Porro, plays Spurs out of danger. Here's Ben Davies out to the left hand side, the far foot Destiny Udogie comes off. Bernardo Silva on the chase, and it's a Spurs throw-in. City leading 3-2 with 5 minutes to go. Jack Grealish the difference. Here he is trying to win the ball back now on the halfway line. Son through the centre circle, out to the right-hand side. Kulusevski's got space here. Vardiol tracking back. Kulusevski into the box on the right-hand side, blasted across goal, hits the head of Ruben Diaz and behind for a corner.
Yeah, fantastic. I wouldn't fancy getting in on that one, to be fair.
It was hit with power. Short corner taken quickly by Spurs. Sliding challenge comes in from Rico Lewis, who appeals the double deflection of Kulusevski on the byline. Referee initially pointed for the corner, but the official on this near side felt it was the right call from Lewis to appeal, and it's a goal kick to Manchester City, and Tottenham here are going to throw the dice and bring on Richarlison shortly as well.
Yeah, I think it's the right decision. It did flick off Kulusevski's heel, and yeah, they're making a double substitution here.
So Ake and Kovacic on for Joško Vardiol first and foremost for Manchester City. Also going off is Julian Alvarez, who brilliantly assisted Phil Foden for Manchester City's second goal, but he's been a right pain in the backside of Spurs this afternoon, been everywhere, down the middle, and really harassing defenders.
Yes.
He's had a good afternoon.
He's done terrific, Alvarez. Probably faded a little bit as the game went on, which is understandable, and I think it's wise to just put Ake on there to get Guardiola, after that booking, to protect him from getting sent off. And also even Basuma's come off now, and Richarlison's come on.
Basuma, who was at fault for the third goal, has been too calm, and Rodri stole in, and from that moment City put Haaland in on the right of the penalty area. He squared it across for Grealish, and that is the difference in this game with 3 minutes to go. Over the top, ball brought down easily by Emerson Royal, but Jack Grealish wins the second ball. Here's Rico Lewis on the layoff from Erling Haaland. City on the attack again. Lewis wants someone on the outside, gets it in. Bernardo Silva, the cross is deep, and well past Haaland and behind for a goal kick.
Fantastic play from Rico Lewis, breaking with the ball in the central area, waited for Bernardo to make that run, delayed his pass, weighted it in perfectly, and for once Bernardo Silva couldn't pick anyone out in the middle.
So Spurs short from the goal kick, as you would expect. With 2.5 minutes left, City leading by 3-2. The back heel from Richarlison doesn't come off, doesn't set Son off on a run into the Manchester City half. Walker lets the ball roll across him and just takes it away from Brennan Johnson. Out towards the far side right for Manchester City in their sky blue shirts as they close out this second half. Manuel Akanji don't have to force anything now. Manchester City, they have a vital lead, one that will take them back within a point of Arsenal at the top of the Premier League. Long ball forward up to the halfway line. Haaland didn't challenge Emerson Royal. Spurs try and win it on the left hand side. Few bouncing balls that aren't helping anybody. Now Bernardo Silva, his ball over the top won't reach Haaland. Spurs pick it off. Here's Porro inside the centre circle into the final 90 seconds of the 90 minutes in this Premier League match. 0800 218 2255. The phone lines are open for you to have your say. You can book your calls now. Speak to Nicky Weaver. We're with you till 7 o'clock tonight. Again, that number is 0800 218 2255. You can WhatsApp us on 08000 321 333. Just start your message with the word Mank, as Ake wins it in the left back position nicely against Kulusevski. Out towards the right hand side, the far City go with Bernardo Silva. Rodri will just bring it down on his chest on the halfway line. Bernardo again. Udogie plays it off Bernardo Silva, and Tottenham have a throw in on the halfway line. Into the final minute, Manchester City 3, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how many minutes extra time there is here. City just want the game to sort of die out now, and Tottenham obviously trying to get a little bit of momentum going into injury time here.
City will want to see a smaller number as possible, Tottenham as big as possible. As from the left hand side, Johnson crosses it in. Oh, Kulusevski's in! Kulusevski's header! Manchester City concede in the final minute. Tottenham equalise yet again in this game. It's a header that might just rescue a point for Tottenham. City 3, Spurs 3.
Yeah, it's an absolute sucker punch for City. Stadium's just gone really quiet. Tottenham fans are going balmy in the corner. It's a great ball in from the left-hand side, and he hung the cross up, and it's a great header from Kulusevski. It looked like the defender. It looked like it was. Oh, they're looking for a possible offside here, but I don't think it is. Ball goes out wide. Beats Kyle Walker probably too easily. He's coming on the far stick, and I think it's Nathan Ake sort of gets caught under the boys. Brennan Johnson plays the ball in. Nathan Ake gets caught under him, and it's a fantastic header from Kulusevski off the underside of the crossbar.
And it just nestled in, sent the Spurs fans wild, and Dejan Kulusevski becomes the third player to score in 3 consecutive games at the Etihad Stadium. Collins John for Fulham 2004 to 2006, Tim Cahill for Everton 2008 to 2010, and now Dejan Kulusevski adds his name to that list. Ange Postecoglou, without a smile, raises 2 hands in the air as Kulusevski has got Spurs level. Huge fist pump from him at the Spurs end. And that's a signal.
It was amazing Pep's reaction when he went in. He actually fell down on his back. and he was on the floor. You can't believe it. But City have got 4 minutes to try and rescue the 3 points here.
Manchester City, who haven't gone 3 games without a win in the Premier League under Pep for over 6 years, are now trying to chase a winner. Jack Grealish thought he'd done it when he put City 3-2 up. Kulusevski had other ideas. City 3, Tottenham 3. 5 minutes of added time was shown. We've had a minute and a half. Here's Mateo Kovacic across the halfway line, near side the left. Grealish in field. City looking for a winner. Kulusevski clips the heels of Jack Grealish, and he's yellow carded for his tactical foul, as it'll go now, and as a professional foul. But City have a free kick midway inside the Spurs half. Can they send it in and produce something?
Well, they need to, and again, it's a similar position to we had 7 or 8 minutes ago. It's probably 40 yards out from goal, and you know, there's not a defender that they're 2 or 3 yards outside of the D, so they're really high line here. Can Grealish or Silva find the killer ball?
Grealish runs over the ball, so Silva's delivery whips in at pace. There's a chance here for Nathan Ake, but the ball runs all the way to the byline, and the flag goes up to say it went out of play as well. That was close. Dangerous delivery from Bernardo Silva. Whips in low with his left boot, bending around the high Tottenham line of defenders. It needed Diaz maybe on the stretch. It was too far past him. Ake couldn't get there quick enough.
It's just a yard too far, the ball, probably a little bit too much pace on it. It's a great ball, but unfortunately for City, no one could get on the end of it. And now Tottenham, that urgency, they had a few minutes to go for the first time in the game. I think Vicario's going to drive it long here from a goal kick.
They're not playing out from the back anymore, are they? They're going long here. Tottenham to the halfway line. 3-3 the score. 3 successive draws for Manchester City. Diaz over the top. Grealish will try and bring it down up against Pedro Porro. Which way's the ball gone? They're both looking for it. Grealish gets there first, tries to backheel it to Mateo Kovacic. Loose ball runs to Emerson Royal. It's Vicario again. He's not playing out from the back now. Up and over to the halfway line. Akanji wins header 1. Second ball won by Son, who now charges into the Manchester City half. Still carrying the ball here. Kulusevski out on the right-hand side. Puts the cross in. Laid back by Johnson. And Rodri is there first to react. Haaland tripped. Can he stay on his feet as he sends the ball over the top? Grealish looks onside here. Oh, the referee's blown for the foul on Haaland. And Haaland goes apoplectic at Simon Hooper because he played the perfect ball over the top to Jack Grealish, who was onside. And City are denied a great goal-scoring opportunity courtesy of the referee's whistle.
Yeah, he's obviously trying to wait for the advantage, but he's not waited long enough. Haaland plays a terrific ball over the top. Grealish is through. Listen, he had a lot to do, don't get me wrong, so he's probably 45 yards from goal, but he's clear through one-on-one, and then the referee blows. If he just lets it go another second, and Erling Haaland is absolutely furious, as all City players are.
Haaland was fouled on the edge of the centre circle, no doubt about that. Referee even waves play on, and then blows his whistle. Well, there's some controversy there. Kyle Walker's having a word with Simon Hooper, wanting an explanation. I'm sure Pep Guardiola wants it from the fourth official as well. And now we've got another stoppage in play. Emerson Royal's been booked for his foul on Erling Haaland. You're not fit to referee. Rings around the Etihad Stadium. Fuming with that decision. Tottenham Hotspur substitution's going to see Brennan Johnson be replaced by the youngster Jamie Donnelly for Tottenham. Donnelly, who's 18 and now will get his Premier League debut here at the Etihad Stadium.
Yeah, just a time wasting one here for Tottenham. I mean, Brennan Johnson was right over the far side of the pitch. He seems to have taken age to get off the pitch here.
City fans, give us a ring, especially on that controversial moment, perhaps. 0800 218 2255 is the number you need.
To be fair to Simon Hooper, the referee, he's let quite a bit go and then pulled it back. But that one, he just didn't let it go long enough.
And for whatever reason here, the referee's called back the free kick yet again. Well, there's 3 balls on the pitch here. Walker and Grealish clear one away to each side of the pitch, and now Ruben Diaz on the halfway line can take this free kick. The referee blows his whistle. Side foot pass out to the right hand side for Manuel Akanji. Is there one final bit of drama? It's chipped into the penalty area, headed away by Emerson Royal from the right hand side. Rodri sends it over the top, asking a lot of Bernardo Silva. Oh, now here's your chance, because Udogie's just volleyed that behind for a cheap Manchester City corner.
Yeah, I was just having a look at Edison there to see if he fancied coming up, but pretty much.
Well, this is it. Corner on the far side. Manchester City's right. Bernardo Silva lays it short to the edge of the box. It's got to go in, surely, with Lewis selling Bernardo Silva short. He wins the ball by the touchline. Players still continue forward here. Walker, semi-charged.
Surely.
Why they didn't go long with the corner initially, I don't know. Haaland flicks it on. Will it run to Ake on the left-hand side of the penalty area? Huge appeals for handball. VAR will, of course, check it in the background. Rodri sends it over the top. Bernardo Silva's racing in. Haaland on the stretch. More appeals again for a penalty this time from Manchester City. And it's a goal kick to Spurs is the initial decision. Of course, VAR is having a look in the background. Robert Jones is the VAR official.
Yeah, Rodri plays the ball in.
They want to push on Akanji today.
Skip's got his arm on Akanji, but I don't think it's enough for a penalty. I think it's more frustration than anything. But I tell you something, this 5 minutes injury time has been absolutely unbelievable. Tottenham getting the goal.
Hey, VAR's checking this, Nicky Weaver.
Oh, I don't think there's enough in that for me.
Check over. No penalty. Goal kick Tottenham away to our left-hand side. What a ridiculous ending to a quite frantic game. 3-3 the score. Players heading over to this near side. Vicario goes long for now. Simon Hooper, despite is now ticking into the 8th minute of stoppage time, keeps his whistle down by his side. Long ball forward. Lewis heads it out to the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva turns away from the Spurs penalty area. Now tries to switch the play out towards this near side. Cushioned down by Grealish. Has to be now for Manchester City. Ake out to Grealish on the left-hand side. Grealish needs to weave way past a couple of players. Can't send the cross in. And the referee blows for full time. The boos are for the officials, not for the players who've left everything out on the pitch. What a dramatic game here at the Etihad Stadium. It started so quickly when Son opened for Spurs, but at the other end moments later put one in the back of his own net for 1-1. Foden made it 2-1 in the break. Tottenham got an equaliser before Jack Grealish thought he'd won it 10 minutes from time with his first goal of the season. And then as we hit the end of the 90 minutes, Kulusevski got above Ake on a header on a cross, hit the crossbar, bounced down the right side of the goal line where Tottenham are concerned, and equalised. And it's not all done here, because Ange Postecoglou and Erling Haaland are having a few choice words. Kyle Walker's gone over to Simon Hooper, the referee, who stands on the edge of the penalty area away to our left-hand side. Drama at the last here at the Etihad Stadium, and plenty to discuss in the phone-in, which you can call now on 0800 218 2255. It is, for the first time since April 2017, the first time that Manchester City have gone 3 Premier League games without a win under Pep Guardiola. But I tell you what, all 3 draws have been dramatic. From Chelsea's 4-all to Liverpool's 1 apiece, we now have Manchester City 3, Tottenham Hotspur 3.
City fans would love to hear from you between now and 7 on Total Sport. The number 0800 218 2255. You can text us 81333, start your message with the word Mank, or you can tweet us at BBC RM Sport. WhatsApp, of course, as well, 08000 321 333. Also start your message with the word Mank. We're with you through till 7. You can put your thoughts, comments and questions to Mike Miney and Nicky Weaver. Nicky, goodness me, I mean, sum just that last 5 minutes up for us, will you?
Well, it was frantic, it was epic, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable what we've just seen here. There's been some unsavoury scenes afterwards. I mean, City taking the lead twice, you'd have expected them to see it out. Kulusevski's goal came right at the death. And yeah, City should have had the game wrapped up and they didn't. And then yeah, there was one scene right at the end where Haaland played a lovely ball through to Jack Grealish. Haaland was actually fouled. The referee blew for the foul. If it had just let it go a second or two longer, Grealish should have been clean through on goal. And I think that's what's caused the unsavoury scenes after. But an absolute entertaining game from start to finish. A great advert for the Premier League, but ultimately for City, it's 2 points dropped.
So let's talk about the reason why we had those, what you called unsavoury scenes at the end. The fans very unhappy, made that clear towards the referee with their chants. The players clearly and visibly very, very annoyed at the end. Talk us through why that is.
Well, just probably 10 yards inside Tottenham's half, Erling Haaland's got the ball, he's turned, and as he's played the ball, he's got fouled, but the ball's already gone. The referee should have let it go a couple of seconds longer. He's played a great ball through for Jack Grealish, who's clean through. He's probably 40 yards from goal, but he's clean in on goal. And then the referee's blown for the free kick. So if he just allows play to go on for another second or two, he'd have been able to see that Grealish was clean through, and I think that's what's caused the problems. I mean, Erling Haaland at the end was absolutely fuming, and as he's storming off the pitch, he's ripping his ponytail out, and he barged into one of the Tottenham subs, and it looked like there was going to be a little bit of fisticuffs, but it was just a bit of pushing and shoving. But yeah, Tottenham will go away delighted, and City, everyone in a little bit stunned, because we didn't see that goal coming at the end.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic towards the end there. Right, we've got a couple of texts and tweets, Nicky, and do get in touch with us. We'd love to chat to you on air. 0800 218 2255. What did you think of that? Was it a terrible decision? Can you understand why that decision was made? Was that a clear goal opportunity for City? You'd have to argue that it was, with Grealish through. A couple of texts and tweets here to kick us off, Nicky. Sam, this is on Grealish, says he always steps up in big games, and what a time, as Mike said, to get your first one of the season.
Sorry, I just missed that a little bit, sorry.
There's a tweet on Grealish from Sam, who says he always steps up in big games. We thought for a moment there he'd actually scored the winner in this huge game, but still a vital goal to secure the point for City in the end.
Yeah, once he got that goal, we all thought it was going to be the winner. We thought City would see it out, and it's something they've not been able to do this year. They've not been as clinical as they have been in recent seasons, and ultimately they couldn't see it out. And they got caught with a sucker punch, and it's a great header from Kulusevski, and the spoils are shared, but yeah, it's definitely two points dropped from City.
You've just mentioned Kulusevski, and Sam in a later tweet added Kulusevski just did the silencer.
Yeah, it seems to be the regular. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold did it, didn't he, the other week, and yeah, it just silenced the whole ground. Tottenham fans are going balmy. It's a great header. Nathan Ake was sort of caught under the ball. Kulusevski got the run on him, and it's a fantastic header at the underside of the bar and gone in, and yeah, the whole ground was stunned.
I mean, there've been tons of goals in the Premier League today. I mean, 5 in the Chelsea-Brighton game, 7 in the Liverpool-Fulham game, and 6 goals between the others, and another 6 goals for City, Tottenham. I mean, a whole handful of goals today, and you were saying earlier in the build-up that, that's the way that the game is played now. It's high risk, high reward, but lots and lots of goals, which certainly for football fans, for neutrals anyway, can be pretty exciting. We've got a message from Savage here who says this is a Prem classic. What made it a classic, if indeed you agree with that?
I just think the end-to-end nature of it. 6 goals, like I said, there's been a lot of goals today, and it's the modern thing. We were talking to Phil Brown before, and clean sheets seem to be a thing of the past. No one really seems to cherish a clean sheet like in years before. So yeah, but it was end-to-end today. It certainly is a classic Premier League game. End-to-end, 6 goals, some good goals as well. You thought City taking the lead twice, particularly when Grealish come on and scored the goal. You think City are going to see it out. Ultimately they didn't, and it's something that they've struggled with all season.
Got a couple more tweets here as well. Lots of these questioning defensive, I guess, not the quality really, but just questioning what's going on, perhaps in an organisational way, you might say. So we've got one from Joe who says, what's going on with this defence? One from Naparo saying defence not up to standard nowadays. And Leslie who adds, our defence is weak. We conceded 4 goals against Chelsea, now 3 against Tottenham, not acceptable. So I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but and exactly what they're questioning, but certainly questioning the capability, let's say, and solidity of City's defence, Nicky. Would you agree, and if so, what's going wrong?
I don't think it's as much the defenders. I think it's the fact that the way they play, they commit so many men forward, as do the opposition. It does leave them a bit bare at the back, and they can often be an overload in the attacker's favour. So it's just the way the game's sort of developed at the minute. Obviously, like I said, they've conceded 8 goals in the last 3 league games, which is something that you wouldn't associate with the champions the last 3 seasons. So yeah, it's just the way the game's gone. I don't think it's individual errors and I think it's just a way now. They're leaving it man on man at the back. It's all about this high press. They want to win the ball, help the field. They're quite prepared to go man for man at the back, and they will put the ball at risk at the back as well. Tottenham got away with quite a few today. So yeah, I think it's just the way that systems and where you sort of you value that you want as many players as you can further up the field, where in time gone by you'd sort of try and be a little bit tighter at the back, and it's something that's it's ultimately cost City in the last 3 games.
Well, we're with you until 7 o'clock here on Total Sport on BBC Radio Manchester. We'd love to hear from you. 0800 218 2255 is the way to call. If you want to text 81333, start your message with the word Manc, or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Also start your message with the word Manc. And of course, we're on X or Twitter at BBC Sport. Right, Steve joins us now. Steve, a very good evening. We've heard lots of points of view there, but it was end to end. It was an engaging, intriguing game. That's for neutrals, though. As a City fan, how did you perceive it?
Well, I'm nervous. Yes. The last chance that Haaland had, why did the referee stop it? He needs an education, that bloke. There was nothing wrong with the challenge at all. Haaland turned, got the ball, and he went to pass it to an opponent, and then he blew his whistle.
Of course, Steve, you're referring to that challenge on Haaland, which was, pretty much on the halfway line or just inside the City half. He played a beautiful ball over to Grealish. He was clean through on goal, Nicky, and then, of course, the referee. I mean, we talked about this in the very first few seconds as the whistle blew, because it would have been controversial at any time. It was right at the end of the game and really, caused a lot of fans and players to be very unhappy, and we can see why.
Yeah, but I mean, all he needs to do is just let it go. He can still give the decision if he wants in 2 seconds' time. In my opinion, he's just blown the whistle too early. Like I said, Grealish was clean through. He'd have had a lot to do. But he'd have had a great chance of winning the game for City, and you can understand why people get frustrated, because it's that consistency again. He'd actually done it a few times in the game, referee, where he'd actually let it go, then pulled it back, but he seemed to let it go shorter this time, and ultimately he pulled it back. And the thing as well, when he pulled it back, Grealish has got control of the ball and he's bearing down on the goalkeeper. So if he'd have just let it go another 2 seconds, then we could have been talking about 3 points instead of 1.
Yeah, it's difficult. Well, it's difficult. Sorry, go on, Steve. You go.
Whatever way you look at it, Nicky, the referee could have gone, well, hang on a minute, I'll play the advantage. And then he went, no, I won't. If you're going to play the advantage, play it. If not, blow for the free kick straight away.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Steve. It almost looked like he wanted to play the advantage. So for me, either do it straight away, and then there'd have been no issue because Haaland probably wouldn't have played the ball, or he seemed to let it go a little bit and then stop it, where if he'd just let it go a bit longer. So yeah, the referee is going to Simon Hooper is going to have a lot of questions to answer, and ultimately it's his own doing, because if he'd just let the play run for another 2 seconds, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Steve, aside from that controversy though, Steve, how do you think City played overall? I mean, we've heard a lot of complaints about their defence, so to not deflecting from the referee, I know that's a huge point and had ultimately a massive part in the game, particularly at those closing stages, but obviously in open play before that, what did you make of City's performance and the defence?
Well, to me it was a bit naive, some of it. So there was one chance that was on, and then the defence just stood off him, and I'm screaming on the radio, closing down. That's where the Navitz came in. There was some. I think it was a bit negative at the back.
So, Nicky, I mean, what would you say in terms of defensively what they needed to do better?
Well, they just needed to shut up shop, didn't they? Against City, like I said before, they're quite happy to leave it sort of 2-on-2 and 3-on-3 at the back. But and the game was really open, and City should have, what they've done great in recent seasons is they've been able to close games out, and they've just not been able to do that recently. Obviously, we saw it at Chelsea when they conceded, in the 95th or 96th minute, whatever it was, and it's happened again today. So it's something that they've got to get out of the game. They've got to eradicate it, and they've got to, they took the lead twice. I know Tottenham are a top team, but you'd expect City taking the lead twice to see it out, and particularly when Grealish scored, you'd expect them to see it out. So they've got to tighten up at the back. There's no doubt about that. They're not going to win, the league if they're conceding 8 goals every 3 games. That is for sure. So it's something that needs addressing, and it needs addressing quick.
Finally, Steve, is it something that you're concerned about in terms of City's form of late? I mean, we're used to them winning and getting the job done. They've not quite been managing that. Your thoughts? Are you concerned at all?
A bit, because we've got everyone loves attacking football, but at the end of the day, if you're going to score goals, I know we haven't got the divine right to win games. Don't get me wrong, but I thought when they got 3-2, I was screaming at the radio, "Don't mess it up!" And what they're going to do, mess it up.
Yeah, and they're usually so proficient, aren't they, Steve, at managing games, closing them out and doing what they need to do to get the win. That's the City that we've come to know. Steve, thank you so much for joining us on Total Sport and for your comments. Danny joins us now. Evening, Danny.
Evening, you all right?
Yeah, great, thank you. So give us your summary, first of all, of what you made of City's performance on the whole.
Yeah, no, first half was fantastic. There was pace in the passing, there was good movement. But yeah, it's that lacklustre nature at the back. It's not being tight enough, and not being smart when you're going to have teams like Spurs and all that. Just play quick, play fast, and try and get round you. So it was good in parts, but the second half, the first half against Leipzig was terrible. It's similar situation, just on the reverse.
Nicky?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think first half City looked really good. Went in at half-time 2-1. It should have been more, with the post, with the crossbar. Quite wasteful in front of goal. Haaland missed a chance that you'd expect him to gobble up, and the game could have been away for Tottenham. And ultimately we get punished, for not being clinical enough. And then second half, we started off really brightly. And then, but it was just a bit too end-to-end for me. And when a game gets frantic, you always fancy there's going to be more goals in the game, where, once City get 3-2 up, in my opinion, they've got the best manager in the world and some of the best players in the world on the field. They've got to be able to see that game out. And if they don't sort of, book this trend soon, it could end up costing them the title. Listen, I still think they'll go on and win the league. But, this can't happen too many times, else it will cost them.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Got a sharp shot at the back. That's the thing. It's like
what would you prioritise, Danny, in that regard then? Because we've seen in the last couple of games. I mean, Openda the other night looked like he was in acres of space, and they do play that high risky play. Nicky's referred many times to the speed that they've got at the back, the confidence on the ball, but obviously there's something not quite working at the moment with the number of goals they're conceding, and they aren't scoring more, are they? I mean, the drawing, obviously, dropping points. What, as a priority, would you change at the back to stop this, Danny?
Just go back to basics. Work on your defensive shape, work on your passing, make sure you're not doing 101, we play a risky game, but there's a smart way to play it. It's just about locking that down, and then that will solve a lot of the problems. You do that with a bit of faster passing, and then the goals will come. We'll beat teams with pace. We'll move it around quicker and better and faster than any other team in the country, and we'll start to win games again, and really win games, efficiently, but also, with hopefully loads of goals in the bag to make up for the amount we're shipping.
Yeah, I mean, on a different day today, we could have scored 7 goals quite easily. And so the wastefulness in front of goal is causing the defence to come under more pressure. We conceded 3 again today, so it's something it's got to stop. We've got a big game coming up in midweek as well. So they need to get back to winning ways, because we don't want to, be giving up too much ground on the leaders.
There's been tons of goals in the Premier League today, Danny. 24, that's pretty incredible in just 5 games. I mean, that says a lot, doesn't it? In terms of the same question that I asked to Steve, really, does it raise concerns for you, City's form of late, particularly the number of goals conceded and perhaps not managing games as well as we've seen them do previously?
Yeah, no, there's absolutely cause for concern, but I think, like Nicky said, we've got the best manager on the planet. I think he'll have the boys in and they'll work on it and they'll work on making it better, improving the performances, and I think it's that, we've always had that sluggish start sometimes this season. This just seems to be a bit more prolonged than usual. No convincing performances, but we've had a few, Kovacic come back tonight, he hasn't, he's been out, De Bruyne is going to be out until the new year, so there's still a few, members missing and, Rico's starting to get a few games, so there's room for improvement, 100%, and it'll happen.
Who impressed you tonight, Danny?
Yeah, no, he was fantastic. He come on, made immediate impact.
Which players, though, for City impressed you?
Rico was amazing when he came on, really sort of give it a bit of an edge, a lot of pace. He's young, he's fearless, that's what you need, and I think maybe we do need to inject a bit of that into the team. And not, in a way, conversely to, what I'm saying about, making it safe at the back, is conversely not be so safe when you're attacking and be a bit more fluid. But, in time we'll see. Pep will have them in and he'll work it out.
Right, well, let's get the thoughts of Craig and Danny. Thank you so much for joining us on Total Sport. And if you want to have your say, we're with you till 7 p.m. here on Total Sport. 0800 218 2255, the number to call. And those contact details again to text 81333, start your message with the word Manc. WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Also start your message with the word Manc. Or you can tweet us on X or Twitter, whichever you prefer to call it, at BBC RM Sport. Craig, a very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on Total Sport. Your thoughts to pass on to Nicky on today's game?
Yeah, it just seemed like a game of two halves. They just didn't take the chances in the first half. We've hit the post a couple of times and Haaland's missed a couple that he normally bags. And on another day, I think it was just said a minute ago, we're scoring 5 or 6 goals there and it's a totally different game. And Spurs looked on the ropes. If we just finished them off, I don't think it ends up the way it does. But they made some poor decisions at times in that game. Specifically their third goal, you got, the second goal, Akanji's playing it out to Alvarez, who's got 2 players on him, and then Alvarez is trying to knock a pass around the corner instead of just holding the ball. Just 2 poor decisions like that have come back to bite us. I just thought it was poor decision making at times.
Mickey, poor decision making?
Yeah, I think so. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's the chances we've missed. I mean, Haaland's missed 2 gilt-edged chances. We've hit the post with Doku, hit the post as well with Alvarez. So it could have been a different game. But and if we're not going to get the chances, then we've got to be tight at the back, and we can't put the ball at risk. Particularly when we've got in 3-2 in front, with just a few minutes left. We all thought it was done and dusted, and we'd see Tottenham off, but as we've seen too many times, in the last few weeks, it's not been like that at City. And all I would say is, we've seen City do it before, particularly this time of the season. They could go and win the next 10 on the spin, no problem, and that wouldn't really surprise anyone. They've had 3 really tough fixtures, obviously, Chelsea, Liverpool and Tottenham, and you would have expected them to come out with more than 3 points. You'd have probably expected it to be more like 7 points than 3. So they're perhaps 4 points off where they should be, but they're still in a good position in the league. Got plenty of games coming up over the Christmas period, so yeah, it's just frustrating that they should be at least 3 or 4 points better off than they are in the last 3 games.
So Craig, I mean, is it cause for concern for you?
I don't think it's cause for concern. I just think it's frustrating when they could be getting better results, and they've probably done enough in some games to get better results, but they're just not seeing it through. And like Nicky said, it's typical for this time of the season for us. But you would like to see that change once in a while, but that's probably the one moment that you can only have at the moment as a City fan. I would have dreamed of stuff like this when I was back watching us in Division 2. Cheers for that, Nicky, getting us out of there. But it's just it's just frustrating. I think if we get Stones back on the pitch, it just changes the whole dynamic. I know he offers a lot going forward, but it just seems the understanding is better there, and he knows when to drop back in, he knows when to go forward and step out. And I don't think as good as an understudy as Akanji has been in that, he's not the same as John Stones.
What is it specifically that he brings from your point of view, Craig? I mean, lots of people have talked about this, of course, how it's very unique. It's a role that's kind of been, it's a niche that's been invented for him. But from your personal perspective, what is it that John Stones brings that's going to make a difference?
I think if anything, that role blends the two positions that he can play and makes it into one. You know, Pep said early on he doesn't know whether he'll end up being a defensive midfielder or whether he'll stay a centre-half, and he's now become both. And I think it just suits his game down to the ground, and it suits what we want to do down to the ground. And when he's not playing, we miss it, and we don't know whether to stick with a back four or whether to try and get someone to do that. And if you play Rico Lewis, then you lose out on Kyle Walker and his speed in playing that position. And then when you're playing Akanji, you know, if he gets caught too far forward, he doesn't know when to drop back in. So I think it's just the cleverness that Stones has of, you know, knowing how to play those two roles and just combining it into that one. And I feel we definitely miss him when he's not on the pitch. To a certain extent, the same that we do with Rodri. They're not on the pitch, we definitely miss it, and we can get by a little bit without Stones, as much as we can't get by without Rodri. But I think the past couple of games we've kind of seen that without Stones and trying to play that role, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah, a number of key players out, obviously De Bruyne and Nicky, but talking about Stones there, a real unique role that he's able to bring to the side.
Yeah, he's been terrific over these last couple of years, and they've sort of, Pep's created this position for him that sort of didn't used to exist. It is, people call it the John Stones role. We've seen sort of Liverpool trying to sort of copy it with Trent Alexander-Arnold, but no one's as good as John Stones is doing it. And Akanji does okay doing it, but you know, ultimately he's not John Stones. So it'd have been nice to see him get on the pitch today. Perhaps he'll get on in midweek, but yeah, we need to see him back. And obviously De Bruyne, he'll be 4 or 5 weeks away from what you believe. And yeah, they missed those two players, because you know, any team in the world have missed De Bruyne, and that would say how good John Stones has been. They're going to miss him as well. So hopefully they can both be back soon. And yeah, just sort of shove us up a little bit more. And you know, with De Bruyne, once he's back in the new year or around Christmas time, it'll just, you know, them final balls that aren't quite getting there at the minute, hopefully he'll be able to put in a few more killer passes.
And Craig, before you go, in the build-up, we heard from Kyle Walker, and we were chatting to Nicky Weaver and Phil Brown, who was with us for the FA Cup commentary with Stockport and Aldershot earlier today, and we were asking the question of, what would you prefer, to become Champions League winners again or Premier League title holders again? What would be your priority?
Premier League.
Why?
It's not even a question. What's the point in winning the European Cup, Champions League, if you're not winning your own league? You can't turn around and say I'm the best in Europe when you've not won your own league. It's 38 game season, that's the true test, and essentially the Champions League is just a cup competition. You know, it's got great teams in it. I'm not trying to downplay it, but the league should always be more important than
does it help saying that now that you have won that Champions League, because it was something that kept being thrown at you, whether that was bragging rights from other fans, not mentioning any names, but certainly the red side of the city, and even Liverpool fans and others throwing that at you, you know, and Pep questioning whether it would be a real legacy and real success if he didn't win that. Does it help now that you've actually done it and got that ticked off, or did you always feel exactly the same?
I always felt exactly the same, but it's nice to have it done, and then people can't say, well, you've not done it, you know. I think the key thing is, now we've done it, and if they want to try and throw that at you, say, well, we've done it, and we did it winning the treble. It's not like we just went and won it. We won it, we won the league, and we also won the FA Cup. So we've equalled our rivals' greatest achievement of modern history. So if they want to try and throw something at us, they've not really got much of an argument. But I've always said the league over the Champions League. It's just nice that it's done and out of the way.
Well, Craig, really appreciate you chatting to us on Total Sport. Thanks so much. And Nicky, this is something I've heard time and time again from fans, saying that the league shows that you're consistent, you can do it over and over again. Cup games, it's a lot of luck involved of what happens on each night. And of course, a great point that how can you say you're the true champions of Europe if you happen to win a cup competition but not your domestic league?
Yeah, listen, I always say, you know, Premier League's your bread and butter. You've got to be the best team, the most consistent team over 38 games. The old saying is the league table doesn't lie. You don't have to be the best team in the Champions League to win the Champions League. Listen, it was unbelievable last year, well, earlier on this year, last season, what happened in Istanbul. Something that no one will ever forget, the last season at this football club. But yeah, for me, the most important thing is the Premier League. It'd be nice to get a couple of more Champions Leagues under a belt in the next few years, and then they really will be sort of a global force and what have you. The first one's always the most special. It was the Holy Grail. We've got the first one. Can we go and get a couple more now?
Well, there's a couple of texts and tweets to finish with. Fuad says, we can't win the league if we keep conceding like this and also not taking our chances when they come. We cannot continue like this. Well, you still feel confident, Nicky, they can sort of secure the league? This is, just something smaller things that need sorting out and not a crisis, let's say, by any means.
It's not a crisis. Listen, they've drawn 3 games on the spin. It's just, you set your own standards, and the standards are normally so high, you'd expect City to win today from the position they were in. A combination of not taking your chances when they come, not keeping it tight at the back. You stick those two together, and ultimately it's going to cost you. But like I said earlier, it wouldn't surprise you. We've seen City do it many, many times. They could go and win the next 10 or 12 on the spin, absolutely no problem. And no one would really bat an eyelid because, and I think the thing is, the longer the season goes, if other teams are in a position, they'll get nervy. I don't think City will. So whether City are protecting the lead at the top of the league or whether they're chasing, they've all been there and done it before and got the T-shirt. So other teams haven't. So we've seen what happened with Arsenal last year. They were in a great position with sort of 10 games or so to go, and they ultimately just lost their nerve, and City won it quite easily in the end, if you like.
They do seem to have that fortitude, don't they, Nicky, when it really counts, and even when it looks like they've been up against it, Liverpool, Arsenal, every time, taking them all the way to the wire, and they've still come through. And I think these final tweets reflect that positive side. Shah says, we fought well, we were just a tad unlucky. Ark says, well done, boys. And Excellent says, you gave it your all, be proud the referee cost you the game. Whether we agree with that or not, it's still lots of positives in terms of the way that City applied themselves today.
Yeah, I mean, the first half, they were sensational at times, and they should, we've said before, they should have been more than 2-1 up at half time. Ultimately they wasn't, and it's ultimately cost them. But yeah, on a different day, they probably could have been going in half time 4 or 5-1. Haaland's missed 2. Well, he's not even at the target with 2 great chances. There's been other chances. Doku at the bar, Alvarez at the post. So we're talking now. It's all more frustration than anything. When on a different day, if they'd have gone in and took the chances, then we could have been talking about a completely different result and Tottenham getting blown away. But Tottenham hung in there, and obviously nicked one right at the death.
Well, Nicky, it's always a real pleasure to have you with us. And when I saw that you were alongside, as I said, there will be a fan at some point that thanks Nicky Weaver for getting them to where they got. And we did get that from one of our callers, which we often do. Part of that rich history, of course, at Manchester City. And such a pleasure to have you with us on BBC Radio Manchester. Thank you, Nicky.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Nicky Weaver there, who was alongside Mike Miney as part of your commentary team. Well, we've got some belters lined up in the FA Cup involving our local teams. Bolton will go to Luton. Wigan will host Manchester United. Manchester City will host Huddersfield. And Stockport, of course, in your earlier commentary, were held to a draw by Aldershot, so they'll have to have a replay of that one. Should they get through it, they will go on to face West Brom. You can capture all of that here on BBC Radio Manchester. But City 3-3 and Spurs. Let's look back at today's action.
Total Sport.
Action replay.
BBC Radio Manchester.
The free kick whipped in by Alvarez. Haaland goes up for the header. Oh, he's bundled in! A decisive touch that just sends it past Vicario. Manchester City behind for just over 2 minutes, and they're level. There's Foden! Manchester City have turned it around yet again at the Etihad Stadium. 5 forward for City. One of them's Haaland on the pullback. Grealish! What a time to get your first goal of the season. The substitute scores and City are back in front. Kulusevski's in. Kulusevski's header. Manchester City concede in the final minute. Tottenham equalise yet again in this game. It's a header that might just rescue a point for Tottenham. City 3, Spurs 3.
Action replay.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.